Welcome back to the Metropol Grid. My name is Andre, and all geographical information was correct as of the date this program was recorded. How's everyone doing? It is someday in June. Let me guess, 16th. Yeah, it's 16th. It's probably right. It was Pat's birthday yesterday. Say happy birthday to Pat. Hopefully you're doing well. We have a night in Netrunner. We have some, I guess, some housekeeping to do at the beginning. We'll get to that in a second. No rush. Stop rushing me. I feel rushed. Dan, how's it going? Andre, we made good evening, everyone. How you doing? Are you coming out on Saturday? We have an event here in Montreal on Saturday. Our first circuit opener event. I will be plugging this at some rate. 1 second. Let's hit this first. Happy birthday, Pat. We did an online viewing of Waking Ned Divine. The issue is when I have Pat on the stream is that Pat says jokes, but then I'm looking this way, engaging with chat while Pat's saying jokes. And I'm reading, so I don't hear him. And then he makes a Waking Ned Divine reference, which I would have totally glommed onto, but I just didn't hear it. And then I rewatched the VOD, and then I realized, wow, that kid sure says things, huh? Cat, how's it going? Hope you're well. Hope you're well too. Hey, Singrin. Happy birthday, Pat. I appreciate it. Thomas, how's it going? Seabass, how's it going? Tonight, sweet. I gotta catch these live. Welcome. Welcome to it, Frank. How you doing? Good day, Andrew. Frank, hell of a storm, huh? We had a big storm, so big today that they don't text you, but they basically command power over your phone on a governmental level. And then my phone sounds like an air raid, and I got really scared. And then it tells me it's gonna rain a bit. Where's Pat? Pat right now is probably at his apartment, I'm assuming. That's my best guess. I'm not allowed to keep tabs on him. We have a circuit opener in Boston as well. Yo, hey, good luck with that. That's really cool. Giles, how's it going? Rhino says hungover. Hopefully you're feeling better. You might want to put the volume a bit lower. Maybe even the brightness. Hope you're feeling better. Oh, you had tornado warnings in Ontario. Okay, so that, I would understand why my phone yells at me for a tornado warning. It rained a bit here, but again, I guess you can never know. I felt really bad. I was waiting for some post, and then the postal carrier rings, and it's in the middle of the worst storm. I'm like, that's kind of rough. But on an unrelated note, there is an expansion for the revised edition of Agricola. So everyone at the press. Anyways, Montreal Circuit Opener #1 at Silver Goblin, created by Patrick, birthday Scorpy Sklar. This is this Saturday. It's at the Silver Goblin, which is my favorite venue for Netrunner in Montreal for the last little while. Come on down. I think it's going to be a smaller event, probably. I don't know. It's probably going to rain tomorrow. Every time Pat organizes something, it rains just nobody's business. So that's on Saturday. I'm going to be there. Pat's going to be there, obviously, and hopefully we see you too. It's going to be fun. It's a circuit opener, so if I'm not mistaken, there's this cool prize support. I did not realize the prize support. This includes things like Obokata Protocol. That's pretty sick. And this is an Anakam? Or a Simulchip, excuse me. I don't know who this character is. I guess we'll find out soon, huh? Do we know who this is? And then the Harkal playmat is quite nice. And participation, or not participation, but the rare prize is Biotic Labor. This is really cool. Storm Alert, yeah, you got it too, huh? I was in the car at the time, a bit stressful. Yeah, I don't know what you're meant to do in that situation. I definitely drive home as fast as you can, to some extent. Andre says I'm going camping this weekend, so I won't be able to make it, unfortunately. Fingers crossed for the next one. Yeah, okay. There'll definitely be more. I know we have a couple lined up. There probably will be some almost definitely saved for after Midnight Sun comes out. Or not, yeah, Midnight Sun, which should be, I'm assuming, end of July, as far as we know. So there should be more. Is it Woo? I don't know if it's Woo. I'm actually pretty sure that Nisei is going to stop showing characters that belong to FFG. I think they want to kind of move away from it. That Simulchip is right in front of her, but I don't think that's Woo. I don't think Woo wears a headband. Yeah, Nisei as much as possible doesn't want to use. Yeah, it's definitely not her. Well, unless it's someone's rendition of her. But yeah, Nisei as much as possible is going to move away. This is Jasminder. This is not Jasminder. There's no way. Simon Chip. It's not Jazz. I don't know who this is. This might be this probably is, what's it called? Midnight Sun Runner. Maybe a Shaper too. There's actually some cool things you can glom from this. Firstly, if you look here at this image, that looks kind of like it's a magnet. And then this kind of looks like a gun. You can see that, right? This kind of looks like a horseshoe. And then here it looks kind of like a gun. It could not be, but maybe it's not a gun, but it looks like there's some protrusion here. This kind of looks like a trigger. Maybe that's just me. But I'm pretty sure this could be a new character we're going to see pretty soon. I also didn't realize that if you bought the Midnight Sun booster pack, it comes with a story on a couple cards, right? And that was attributed to someone named Jolt. I didn't read the whole story. I was just going through the cards today. I didn't get to read through all of it, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be another runner we have, right? Yeah, new idea. I think so. Nato, how's it going? It's not the closest facsimile. Kind of look like Kate's face in The Artist. The artist Kate's face looks like Kate. The artist Kate's face is like really Kate. Source I added to the prompt. Wait, sorry, Sangren? Is that actually okay? Hold on. You're saying that this is Nisei can confirm that this is Jasminder. Never figured Montreal's a summer storm sort of place. You learn something every day. Yo, it hasn't rained a lot. They've been kind of saying, I don't want to be the weather channel again, but yeah, sure, we're surrounded by water. It can rain real hard here for sure. Anywho, I think this is my most important bookkeeping, and this comes in some ways it's unfortunate, in some other ways it's pretty exciting, but there is very likely, I would say almost 90% chance that there's going to be no stream next week on the 23rd, and then an equal, if not maybe higher chance that there'll be no stream, maybe a bit lower, there'll be no stream on the 30th. So I know there's a lot of people showing up to the stream or to this channel, maybe because you just got into Netrunner, you want to see what startup is like. We're going to be playing a bit more startup today after we do the deck list of the week, which is like 90% of startup deck. But there will be no streams for these days, so this channel's going to go a bit quiet. For that reason, I'm going to try, and either this weekend or early next week, I'm going to try and pre-record just some gameplay. It's not going to be like 6 hours of content. It'll be maybe like half an hour, 45 minutes of content, and we'll maybe like schedule videos so that there's something that comes out every Thursday. But it's going to be a small thing. It's not going to be, if you're used to like your daily 3 hours of, or your weekly 3 hours of Netrunner, we're going to let you down on that front, that's for sure. But yeah, there'll be no stream. That is by design. So we'll be back. Giles says startup. Oh no, startup is fun. I've been having fun with startup. The biggest issue is that it's Shaper, and that has been a problem. I want to show you this after, but Pat has inspired me. I have an app on my phone called BG Stats, which allows you to record. This is not going to look good. Allows you to record your Netrunner stats. And so I've gone back, and every game that I've played on this channel this year, I've gone and recorded them. And I add a lot of flags because you can like really add a lot of interesting stats. So you can, I flag every game for what format it is, if I'm playing the deck list of the week, if I'm playing Runner or Corp, which ID I'm playing, and I think that's largely it. And so I can come down with some statistics. And I wanted to read you these statistics like maybe halfway through the year, at the end of the year. I guess we're almost halfway through the year. What do you guys think my win rate is on Shaper? It's bad. Hold on. So currently, and this is every game we played on the Metropol grid, plus a couple games that I played casually, I think, online. It includes the Store Championship and includes the majority of games casually I played on the kitchen table. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. But right now we're looking at a Corp win rate of 75%, a Runner win rate of 60%. So it looks like my Runner is either not doing as well, or there could be other external factors. But I just want to talk about Shaper because people do shit on Shaper a fair bit, excuse my language, as like the less strong competitive faction right now. And we have a pretty good Shaper deck list right now of the week. My Shaper win rate right now this year is 45%. I lose more Shaper games than I win. Now, that being said, I do think Shaper and Decklist of the Week have overlapped a fair bit. And my Decklist of the Week win rate is 57%, so higher than Shaper on average, but lower usually than what my normal win rate is. So that's not looking good. But if you don't think Shaper is strong, if you look at anonymous player, which is how I log everyone we play Netrunner with, because there's way too many names to not do it that way. The win rate for every opponent we've played on Netrunner, on Jinteki.net this year, Shaper win rate is 20%. Yikes. Yikes. Somewhere Greg is crying. Rongi, this is literally Greg's deck. Who's credited to this? Crowfi calls it out. This is Greg's deck plus 1 card. And when Greg posted his deck like a week and a half ago, I really wanted to play it because it looks like good fundamental Shaper stuff. And this is somebody taking the deck and winning a tournament with it, which is what Greg wanted to do. Plus they added a misdirection, which Greg said specifically in his write-up, he was comfortable playing not with that. So let's rally the troops and stomp onto with Shaper. The statistics are really cool, and I'll be able to share them a bit better than just reading to you. But like the interesting things, and I'm going to curse myself when I say this, my Shaper win rate, quite bad. Everyone else's Shaper win rate on this channel, very quite bad, worse than mine. My Wayland win rate is my highest faction win rate, which is no surprise maybe. We play a lot of it on 81%. And to date on this channel, we have not lost a build to last game. Every single build to last we've played on this channel, we have won. I'm just saying, we're now going to get stream sniped. I've put it out there. There's a big target paint on my back. I wanted to keep that one secret until the end of the year where we could really drop the ball or the expression. And Time to ban BTL. MGN, what's the app called? It's called BG Stats, just like board game, the abbreviation. I don't think it's entirely free. And then if you want to get like really good stats, you have to pay an additional like $4 or $5. So far, I've been really enjoyed it because I've been logging every game I play, and I can come up with like really cool things. Like I can look at Arc Nova and be like, what's the win rate of this map versus this player? It's kind of really cool. The Sanguine, yeah, it's BG Stats. I should probably start tracking. It's very grateful I was running last night. It's really cool, and if you want to talk about it, I can show you how I log things. Again, this is not going to, wait, there's no way this will load. Yeah, but you can write a role next to a player, and then I have a lot of flagged roles. So like, I have _corp_runner, so that shows up at the bottom of the list, and then like ! deck of the week or ! startup. My startup win rate is way worse than my standard win rate by like a pretty big margin. And then all the factions are like hash faction, and then all the IDs are by name. So yeah, it's really cool. I like it. I really love looking at stats. That's absolutely wild because we haven't shield. No, we haven't shied from playing. No, I do not shy from playing build to last. Like it's actually, I think the ID I've played the most on the channel, and we are undefeated with it. And I'm not saying I'm like a great build to last player. Oh, that's not true. Yeah. Oh yeah, it actually is true. Oh my God, we've actually played Shaper more than the equal amount of Wayland. We played 22 Shaper on this channel as of to this year, and we played 22 Wayland. We've played the most Shaper out of any ID, and that's not my choice. We have been held hostage for far too long by this front page, and someone needs to call up, I guess it's Nisei at this point. Maybe try and, funny enough, I guess I could talk about this a bit. But I was reached out to by Nisei, by Michael, and he's like, we're trying to figure out what cards do. Maybe is a Shaper card interesting? Because they're trying to figure out, they want to allocate cards to like the right channels. I'm like, if you give me a Shaper card, I swear to God. No, but if they give me whatever, I'll be happy. But it was really funny. Let me catch up on chat. I think Australians, we think we monopolize everything is out to kill us here, including weather idea. I'd be super interested in your thoughts on Vlad Grid and Startup. Nato, I haven't played it enough. I do like Vlad Grid. I'm finding out it's quite expensive, but so far I've really enjoyed it in any deck that also runs Seamless Launch, because then allows you to convert your Vlad Disburst grids into fast events, like on advanced state, which is cool. I haven't tried it enough in, what's it called, in System Gateway, or sorry, in Startup. The issue is if I'm playing fast events, like I just generally default to build to last, and like I don't really think you need it in there, considering you have Trickle Light, and that's probably fine. My current Woo went 20 straight games before dropping one. I got so nervous when I was sitting up on 19 to 0. Whoa, Giles, well done. Well done. That's because most Shaper players are wrong in putting SMC in, which is incorrect. I really like this change. Self-modifying code. Okay, so let's pull this list. Self-modifying code, a lot of people call it SMC, so we're going to try and use as few abbreviations until we've really made it obvious what we're talking about. This is like the quintessential Shaper card, and it's been around since basically this first year of Netrunner, back in 2013 or 2012, whenever the first deluxe came out. And this card's been around so long, to the fact that this is actually a Nisei reprint of a card. There's only like 2 or 3, I think, FFG cards that Nisei thought were so integral to the game that they just directly reprinted them in the Nisei frame with the Nisei icons and logos and stuff like that. So this technically is, and you can find the old the FFG ones that have a slightly different blooming flower on them. This card is quintessential Shaper, and classically a lot of Shapers would run 3 of this as an ability to pull out their breaker as soon as possible, or whatever they need as a response. Like, the ability to search your deck for an answer is uniquely Shaper at instant speed, even on your opponent's turn. That's really cool. But what we've seen over the last year or so, 2 years, is that we're actually dropping down to fewer copies of this. We're at like 2 self-modifying codes right now. Why is that? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I do think it's right, though. The other self-modifying codes feel very ugly when you draw them in the mid and late game, but I think the Shaper card draw has just gotten a bit better. Like, while VRcation sees some play, Anacom on its own does represent a lot of card draw. There's also a thinner deck as well. You have Amakua, which sometimes allows you to do enough with one program, but people are playing less on them, and there's some reason to play none of them as well, I reckon. We'll see. Eric, how's it going? Yo, I'm going to my I'm going to a Flesh and Blood. I'm going to the, what's it called, pre-release tomorrow. Wish me luck. I don't know what any of the new characters do. Okay, you might want to try and bump those systems from you. I was using the app for other games. Oh, bump those systems. Yeah, Sengren, hit me up. I'll show you how to do it, like how I do it, which I swear is a very good way to do it. The front page exists to make Andre play Jank. No, this is good. This is good. I've been enjoying Seamless Plus Vlad. Seamless Plus Vlad is good. Macaroni, I'm going to have to catch the VOD this week, do the NBA finals starting right now. Good luck with Shaper. Thank you. Hey, enjoy the ball game. Basketball game, not the baseball game. I love the idea of protecting advanced lad with cerebral until you can gem agenda. That stuff is generally just too much work. So this is the idea, right? Vladisa Burst allows you to move advancements. I'm just gonna write Vlad because I do not believe in myself today. Vladisa Burst allows you to move advancements at instant speed. So the idea is if you have an advanceable trap, you can put it on top of the Vladisa Burst and then you can move the counters over when they've committed to access. So suddenly they take, you know, two brain damage. Now the issue with that, if you ask me, is like you need a deck in which that 2 brain damage is actually like a really big deterrent or can also help you win the game. And then you're also spending influence on the cerebral overriders, and that's not very strong to me. Like at that point you could just have, you know, like a mana garm, and that could just be as good. Like a defensive upgrade might actually just do better and be a card that's better in like more board states. That's at least the way I see it, right? Oh wait, hold on. Oh no, that's good. For what it's worth, people used to do that with like Project Junebug in what's it called, Jemison, because Jemison, the ability allows you to add instant speed to put a lot of advancements on a card, and that was actually, I think, a bit more of a cogent win condition or like a defense condition, because you could just kill people out of nowhere. Like somebody runs an unadvanced card in a remote server and then suddenly you forfeit an agenda because you have another asset somewhere, an upgrade somewhere, and then they take like 8 net damage, they die. It's a harder sell for the cerebral overrider, which, you know, just does some brain damage, which like how are you going to use that and convert all that effort into an actual win condition? If someone says I can trash their win condition and as a response I take 2 brain damage, I'll take 2 brain damage, right? Like it doesn't work for me, I don't think. I seriously run 0 copies, 3 boomerang, 2 Ngolo. Ooh, Ngolo, yeah. We haven't seen Ngolo in a while. Ngolo used to be like very, 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 very prevalent, and it's kind of fallen off. Ngolo was starting to look really ugly when I was trying to break some of the mid-range code gates. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like having nightmares of Ike, but that's not that popular. My face 141 card deck. Yeah, for what it's worth, like 41, you know, some people frown at that, but this is straight up, and you got to find the link down here. Where's Greg's deck? This deck from Greg, which was published. Greg, mind you, was the former head lead designer at Nisei. Greg came in, I think, 2nd at Worlds, the finalist at Worlds many years ago, playing Shaper in a field where people didn't believe in Shaper. So this is like classic Greg to show up with a Gregious kind of Shaper list. And he basically said, like, go and win something with this, please. And that's what Crowfi did here. Huge shout outs to there. They just added the 41st card as a misdirection, which is maybe meta dependent. Maybe you want to cut a slot for that. Greg specifically said that he didn't feel like he needed it, but your meta will vary. The gang is doing pre-release, 3 pre-releases this weekend. Yo, do you guys have any tips? I'm just gonna force Faye, because I don't. Maybe Icelander is good. I don't like dragons. I really don't like the theme. When you play this list, could you specifically talk about when to deep dive? Yes, as I switched to it this week, but never found I had the money to make it work. So okay, I'll talk about the strategy in 1 second. I'm just gonna kind of catch up on chat so that we get back, and then we'll start about this thing. Gwen, how's it going? Hey, hopefully you're doing well. At this point, I feel like I have to be more disciplined to play 41 cards rather than the 40 if I know it's correct, although ugly. I'm not one to shy away from playing 46 or 41. I know it's wrong, but I feel like that sort of difference to me doesn't matter. Mathematically matters, but you know, the once per turn ability is there for a reason. On Faye, I want to use Faye on turn 1 for sure. Just let you cycle your hand. And Ngolo sucks. Drafter hurts so much. That's the issue. Is like you're running into this mid-range stuff, which you have to boost. Like paying. It's like, do you have to actually pay for an IP block? Good luck. Do you actually have to pay for a drafter? Ugly. And that's a huge issue. No on Vlad Grid. The answer is 42. Orbital. How's it going? That's one in System Update 2021, which isn't evergreen like System Gateway, and it won't last long on Ashes. You're responding to Rongi. I'm not sure what Rongi asked. Jemison Junebug is very funny. We've cheesed some good kills with Jemison Junebug. It's like, you can't really react to it. 2 SMC is an interesting choice in a PD world. I did play this deck on tabletop today against Maddie, and I think if she rushed out, we actually were struggling to draw into our thing. Like she was playing the outfit, so like we didn't want to face check into Trebuchet, so we had an early Amakua, which wasn't enough, but we really wanted a SMC or any sort of card draw to get us there. And I kind of felt the 3rd SMC could have been good, but yeah, if we had something like Boomerang that could just do enough work. Shaper doesn't really care about shuffling their deck so much. Yeah. Hey, Winnegon, this looks similar to my Tau. Could be. Good evening, Andre Chat. How's it going? It's going well, Elwin. How you doing? I think Shapers all should be running Falsifieds, not just Woo. I think Falsified's a really good call for this sort of deck. I do like Falsified a lot. I've seen Falsified. I was watching Sangren yesterday, Falsified in like max decks as a one of. It's a nice card. Falsified is like a really good card, knowing when you need to run, let alone getting the money. You know what's really good against Trebuchet Dummy Box? Not memeing. Yeah, I've heard the dummy box support. Dummy box pad tap on its own feels really mean, but I only with 9 resources. I don't know. It's stupid dry hot out here today. Yeah, Elwin, it's we had a huge storm, so it's a bit better, but it's getting warm in here. I turned the AC off like classic, so it'll catch up. Actually, hold on. Sorry, we're gonna get into this, but I need to do this. What a hero. Axwell took Palantir to win the Tallinn Store Championship. Tallinn, I believe, is the capital of Estonia. He celebrates his ignorance. This is the Palantir list that we published. We won our Store Championship with. And Axwell, what they did is they took out the, we had an Abigail, which has a trash can ability, and put in the Amina. That's actually the reverse of the switch I did before the tournament, in which I dropped the Amina because I was figuring out there's some games where I needed to install it a bit sooner than we were set up. And this deck kind of gets its money a bit later in the game, and the Abigail has an actually pretty good trash ability. But I do think there's some cases where Amina is fine, especially if you find yourself dealing with a lot of mouselesses maybe, and your boomerangs need to be somewhere else. This breaks code gates better than anything else. 7's a huge number, but that's kind of where it goes, especially if you simul chip this in. It's quite nice. But hey, shout outs to Axwell taking the Store Championship, a bit of a deck write-up too, which is great stuff, but you get my support. Well done. Thank you for playing this. This deck is really fun. This deck, and they say at the end, like, try this deck out, like, give it a couple whirls before you bring it to an event, because it is a bit trickier, but well done. Wrongy's always a memeing. He's technically not wrong. Cool. Okay. Let's talk about Shaper. So I'm going to target this at maybe some newer players, but we're going to talk about some Shaper fundamentals. Again, we have to understand my Shaper win rate is below 50%. So everything I'm saying is the truth. We're playing Tau. That is our Shaper from System Gateway. Tau's ability is actually quite relevant. It's surprisingly relevant. A 40 deck size minimum is always a really nice start. Generally, people in competitive card games want their deck to be as small as possible, just so that the chance of you drawing into your best card is the highest it can be. Take out your 5 worst cards, your deck is generally better. That's how it works. Swapping 2 pieces of ice on a score or steal is really annoying. And a big part of that is understanding not all ice is made equal. Some ice is meant to be big end of the run stuff that will keep the runner out, and you put that a lot of times on your scoring remote. And sometimes you have that like mid-range, that like annoying stuff. You played maybe Startup, you know, Tithe. Try putting Tithe on your scoring remote. That's going to be a nightmare for you. So Tau really makes you, really gives you some cool interactions. On top of that, there's a fair few ice like see play that are positionally dependent. A lot of it I'm thinking right now is Wayland. I guess NBN to some extent does get hit by this. A lot of times you'll see an NBN decks with a toll booth on their scoring remote. Good luck. But a lot of Wayland ice, you think things like border control, you see things like Afshar, that stuff being repositioned can be pretty potent. Not only if you go to low credits to score out, Tau can take an unresed ice and put it on a central server or a server they want to run, and then get some free runs while you still can't afford to res that ice. I like Tau's ability a fair bit. When Tau came out, there was a bit of worry that ability wouldn't be relevant into a meta that didn't run a lot of ice, like an acid meta, where there's sometimes decks with like 8 pieces of ice in them, like maybe a sports metal or like a CTM. I still think that's not entirely true. Giving position and putting the ice in the worst spot for the corporation can do you something. Just remember about this. It's a high skill cap ability. I like it. It's fun. Below 50, but 30 points above the average. Thank you, Andrew. We got to keep that in context. That's very true. It's going well, Gwen says. Been trying to make a BTL deck I like. Ended up creating one I made this deck 11:40 p.m. and it shows. Oh, but that's a really good starting point, because understanding the clarity you get at different times of day, that's kind of worth more than maybe the success of the deck itself. I would like to hear how that list goes. The swapping Tau is like the only thing Shapers has going for it against PD. Yeah, that's probably true. I'm not actually sure why I'd be super excited about this in PD, because all the PD ice is like generally around the same spot. The only like high end that really we care about repositioning is maybe an unsell. Maybe the gatekeepers once the res at 0 is like really not a big tax, so you can put that on the scoring remote. So you're checking behind, like you're paying 2 credits to get through a gatekeeper as opposed to paying like, I don't know, 6 or 7 to get through an unsell 1.0 or however people do that. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know. I talked about the infamous Netrunnerdb review. I don't like that. Like people really dunked on the person. That you can have an opinion you don't agree with. Maybe they were memeing. I don't know. That made me really uncomfortable. Hey, Baza, how's it going? Happy Thursday. I hope the week has been good. It's been good. Thank you. I hope your week's been good too. I know 3 hostiles is gospel, but even with 3 spin doctors, I find myself struggling with agenda flood. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's fair. That's one fewer agenda. That's for sure. This is the best card game I've played. I love the design, decision making, bluffing, and deck building. Sadly, none of my friends play this. Cramson, how's it going? You're right. All those things are technically, well, not technically, very correct. It's a fantastic game. Just about everyone here can tell you that. If you're looking for people to play outside of maybe your immediate friend group, if you want to play online, if you reach out to the green level clearance Discord, you can plug in where you are in the world, and they'll be very quick to tell you about communities of strangers who might be your friends at some point soon that you can meet and play with regularly. So do reach out, because again, my friends did not play this game, and now I have new friends. I'm kidding, but sort of. But you know what I mean, right? Gatekeeper versus on sale in BC is relevant too. I keep forgetting that deck has a border control in it, but yeah, totally. It's a game about info security that both lore and mechanic matches. Mizuki, it totally does. It's so good. Fear the community of strangers. We have cookies. Alderain, how's it going? Great game. It really is something else. Let's talk about playing Shaper. The way that I play Shaper and the way that I think Shaper can uniquely position itself, I feel like some criminals are doing this, is the idea of playing control. You look at this deck and you notice that it doesn't have multi-axis. It doesn't have pressure. A lot of times we use those words to talk about like reasons why the corporation should be scared about leaving R&D or HQ unprotected. And this deck has nothing. If you leave R&D unprotected, the most they can do is sing a card off of the top of R&D. And the way that the numbers work out, if you have a fast enough deck, you can win before those numbers actually like get to the singularity point in which it's going to be an issue for you. We don't have things like Stargate. We don't have things like Conduit, even things like Jailbreak. Like you don't be scared. You don't have to largely be scared. And that's a big difference here, is we are not trying to like be aggressive, get these cheap, good at runs early. We're trying to set up. And we're trying to set up in a way where we have the best breakers in the game. We have overwhelming economic advantage. We have access, and the toolbox is a term that's used a lot to describe Shaper. So we have the access to so many very powerful, but very specific and unique ways to deal with the problems presented to us. Big example is Misdirection, a card which lets you move 3,000 tags. Money barring, but like doesn't take 3,000 clicks. That's kind of nice, huh? Or like the idea that we can stop fast events. If they want to score an agenda from hand on the turn they play it, no, you can stop it in the middle of their turn. So it lays ugly and naked in a remote server and they figure out what to do with it. That's what Shaper is. Set up for control. Camp the remote server, make sure you can check the remote server, make sure you can stop the fast events. And then once you have that wrist control, once you have that economic dominance, once they realize like, how do I score behind an Afshar into a border control that you tout into the remote server earlier this evening, then you maybe consider deep diving. Or you deep dive if you really need to as an emergency. When does Misdirection rotate? Probably 2 years. 2 years, the next rotation, right? Because this is right after the one that's just happening. That's Shaper. So again, if you find yourself trying to be the kind of runner who wants to be aggressive, who wants to force ice reses and wants to be like, oh, I'm going to spend 4 credits to get a single access on top of R&D on turn 3, you're probably doing it wrong. Again, we will not look at my win rate, but we will look at your win rate, which is again worse than mine. Woo Toolbox is still a deck. Yeah, technically. I haven't seen a lot of it. Shaper is like so underrepresented in the competitive sphere right now. This did win an event. This tournament was like of a good size. So like it can do its thing. The issue is like a lot of this like slow control game doesn't line up incredibly well, if you ask me, against the pressure and like still like this sort of like economy over time stuff. The fact that like max decks can just literally vomit the same pad taps and Rizekis. Some people would rather do something a bit more proactive. And I see that. I'm that player too. But that's where we are. Let me catch up on chat again. Get better friends. Gotcha. Crimson, you know what I mean, right? But no, but seriously, reach out, talk to people, play on JNet. There's so many ways to experience this game. And do not, it's so important in life to not deny yourself an experience because the people around you do not want to do that experience with you. This is like fundamentally the most important thing, okay? Listen to your own music or whatever. I'm playing an Ottawa circuit breaker and it's great to get back into things. We're all talking about getting RL meetups going again. Oh, super cool. Henny, I heard Henny's back up and doing things. It has deep dive, Steve, for the third. Yeah, no, it does have pressure. You do have DJ Fenris, but this is not the sort of deck where you're like DJ Fenrising on HQ for 4 credits just to get DJ Fenris value. You're usually not doing that, or you don't have to, more accurately. Like you can just set up and camp the remote. And we just have good value over time stuff. We have economy. Again, we have the best break, like literally the best breakers in the game. Bagulter, the best killer. We have Paperclip. Not much has to be said if you play standard for more than a day. And then Unity, which apparently this is the best code gate, which I guess so. Deep dive, you need to run HQ though. It's not multi-axis until a late enough point and you're playing a turn 1. Yeah, totally. Exactly. It's not like you might steal an agenda there, but like you're not, I don't think you're trying to deep dive on turn 2. Especially because this deck also only has one way to generate a 5th click, which is Beth. So you're really trying to deep dive once you're set up with Beth and once they have 15 credits. So like you're going to wait a bit usually. Jenkins, almost forgot to update on Arkham. We completed the circle and done. Final 2 scenarios were bonkers good with an investigator win. Well done. Happy-ish ending for Rita, but somehow sad ending for my Diana. Yeah, Haunting was a pain, and I won't miss it. Oh, Haunted. Yeah. But we had a great time with the campaign overall. It's a really fun one to revisit. It's also really exciting to revisit, like, almost immediately, because you read the narrative. There's a lot of different choices and branches and stuff. It's a good campaign, and the fact that it's a good campaign and it's still not close to my favorite campaigns kind of tells you a bit of the ride you've signed up for. Let me know what's coming next. Well done. Shaper cards are really good for importing. Mac's so boring playing 3 Rezekis. What kind of shit deck does that, Rongi? This deck does have multi-access and deep dive. No, it does have multi-access, but like, I don't say that as in like, this is our win condition. It is not the pressure we are like they should be scared of on turn 2 or turn 3. This is not like the turn 3 medium. That's a bad reference for the majority of people, I reckon. It's not like the turn 3 Stargate, right? Like, they don't have to respect the deep dive on turn 1 or turn 2. They don't. They should actually rush the remote, put 3 ice in the remote, go in there, right? Path to Carcosa next. That's a real good one. How's it going? Claim? That's the biggest flaw in Netrunner. Very hard to get friends into it. Yeah, it's... I think for what it's worth, obviously System Gateway has done a lot for that, but I think that is to a large extent. When I realized I could go to gigs on my own in my 30s, life improved loads and I saw more bands. Andrew, hell yeah, you're fighting the good fight. Hey, Andrei, Bonitowski. Yeah, first time catching you live, not to derail too much, but are you going to any Fab Uprising pre-release events? News says looking so awesome. I am tomorrow. I don't know much about the news event, but I'm going tomorrow at the Silver Goblin, so I'm going to spend 2 days in a row at Silver Goblin. I'm excited. I think there's like 1 slot left on the Friday night. Okay, let's do it. For what it's worth, and we'll do this right after. This is like 95%, I think, startup deck list. The majority of Shaper stuff here is like the fundamentals that came from System Gateway or has been reprinted by Nisei. So like almost all the events are Nisei stuff. Every single event here is Nisei. So this is all startup legal. So like you're already 90% of the way there. All of this is Nisei. Here, and we didn't talk about this part of Shaper, but Shaper is meant to represent that toolbox. So we have a lot of these like unique solutions to problems. So like we have Caldera, which allows you to translate hopefully infinite money into infinite protection for net damage. This is not a card that this deck needs, but this is something you can put into your deck as a response to a meta that's potentially trying to net damage you. This is not from, you'd get an influence back. This is not from startup. Beth is also not from startup, and DJ Fenris and Patap. So a lot of the resources aren't for startup, but we can play similar things from the startup. The Breaker Suite is almost half. We need to find another Fractor. There's a lot of good options. We need to not play Amakua, so be it. Maybe you can play a Mayfly. I don't know if you need to. And then you miss these. Well, you still have Clot. You missed Misdirection, but Misdirection is less necessary in that format. And then everything else is good to go. This is like 90% startup. You could play this and just change a couple cards however you want. And there's a really low chance that you'll make a very bad deck. So we'll do that later. Make a bad deck, that is. Oh, my poor Shaper win rate. People are trusting me out here. This is remote lock with a finisher, the most vanilla you can be with Shaper. Exactly, Orbital. That's the perfect way of describing it. We do have multi-axis, but it's a finisher. It's not like this is our pressure we're going to put down in the middle game. It's remote lock with a finisher. That is our pièce de résistance, our hopefully 5 clicks deep dive. New runner deck for Greg. And of course, huge shout out to Crowfi. Did well out there. Second UKGE. They also played, I think they played the Chibata CTM deck. Tau Salonga. Tau Salonga. Cool. We just finished Taskmaster Series 13. Are you all watching? Please don't make me have another long speech why Taskmaster is the best show on television, because I'll do it, but it'll entirely derail the rest of the stream. I'll do it. Okay. Hey. Frisbee, how's it going? Andrew, when you say Docklands Pass, like you could add Docklands Pass to this deck, but I don't think it's right, because I don't think you want to be running HQ once per turn. Well, you kind of do with DJ Fenders, but like once you're set up. Yeah, probably fine. Maybe political operative. I'm supposed to play Acme. Oh, that's fair. Yeah, dude up. Oh, uh-oh. Halfway through, trying to finish it up soon, though. Yeah, I just finished today, this evening in the UK. It's great. Oh, no. All right. Let's do it. I don't know what this is about. I'm a mute now. Okay. Hey, chat. Cries in US, re Taskmaster. Please don't watch the US Taskmaster, from what I understand. That is not something you should be doing. I've heard it's so bad, it's embarrassing. Like they did one series of Taskmaster in the US, and like you could kind of guess from a distance why Taskmaster might not work in America. And from my understanding, it is the hardest thing to watch. So if you've ever seen American Taskmaster and then you're dismissing the idea of a Taskmaster, you are doing yourself a disservice and a half. This can be quite fast. So this sports medal can fast advance very quite quickly. So we want access to Clot. This is actually a matchup where we have to play full control with the Clot. We're worried about things like Cyberdex Fire Suite and Arc Lockdown, so it actually be quite tight. We don't have a lot of pressure though. Like we don't have Imp, we don't have Maul, we don't have Stargate. So this is kind of the downside of this sort of deck, that we might not be as well equipped. Our opening hand, we have like Onacom into Dirty Laundry, which is okay. A Pat Tap is pretty good, doing the sports medal ability. We don't have a lot of card draw. The Rizeki and this, I guess we could keep it. Why did the deck here without Vashron? No worries, I'm wondering that myself. I think we could maybe keep this. Like, we're hoping for an SMC to pull out Clot soon, but like we don't really have much pressure. Having an early Onacom seems good enough so that we can draw at the same time. I think I mentioned at one point how bad US Taskmaster is despite having Reggie Watts, the show is bad. Best of luck, have fun. Like, oops, best of luck, have fun. Pause to say that, that's for sure. Who needs Gamble? No, we got our own Gamble. This is Gamble and an Access. Trying to imagine the U.S. going Greg Davies a little Alex Horn relationship, crying a bit. Yeah, I don't even know who was the Alex Horn in U.S. Taskmaster. And second, I mean, we don't have all the seasons available. Okay, yeah, Taskmaster is quite good. One Clot ends the game? I don't think so. They have tech for that. Like, I think they should have CVS. They probably should have Arc Lockdown. But yeah, one Clot is definitely going to be a problem for them because they do want a fast advance. We're looking at Audacities, Biotic Labors, maybe sometimes MCAs. I don't know. Let's start with the sprint. Doesn't the US version of the IT crowd also flop? Ken, how's it going? I don't know if they made an American one. I'm assuming they did. That's usually how it goes, right? Like with The Office and everything else. I really didn't care for the British IT crowd. They put Alex Horn in the American Taskmaster? Oh no. Oh, that hurts. That is worse than any abuse he's probably gotten on the show. Wait, it was Joel McHale? Dude, how's it going? What? I also am not a big Joel McHale fan. He doesn't fit the nerdy vibe. Joel McHale was the Alex Horn? Okay, so we could check one of these. The issue with this sort of deck is a lot of these things that they try to score out, like give them tempo. So the best thing we probably do is Pad Tap into Onacom into Dirty Laundry, one of these. The worst case for Dirty Laundry is like if we hit a Spin Doctor, it's a bit of a nightmare. I'm gonna go ahead and take that risk though, because if the server ceases to exist, we don't get the server. We died a snare here. I think the equivalent of Little Alex Horn is probably Jeff Garland. I'm not sure I know who Jeff Garland is. It's a Mega Pre. Okay, that's one of the bad ones. Not that there's good ones for us to score. Because now that we have the scored, all the other Mega Pre's are 3/2s. They did draw 2 cards, so we did not get our Pat Tap. We could just go ahead and check server 1. Otherwise, we could get a Daily Caster or Rizeki down. I'm not sure we're going to need that much money. Their Ice Suite is trying to leave the classic stuff. Gatekeeper, Hagen, Drafter, Magnet. Let's go. Larry's agent on Curb. I haven't seen Curb in years. Pilot for US IT crowd was terrible. Oh no. Hyperloop. Okay, well, at least we got our Pad Tab money. So now we're on a real race to 7. Now they can draw 2 more cards because now they have 9 cards in hand. The good thing about them drawing this heavily, while they do have the money to be able to Biotic Labor out, it's like very difficult to Audacity with this many cards in hand. So that actually might slow them down. It's slowing down and having 9 cards in hand is not what I mean, but like they're not going to Audacity this turn, right? I'm a Joel McHale fan purely because of Community. Probably wouldn't like him anywhere else. We rewatched most of the Community this like a couple months ago. And the first season of Community, the fact that it was so focused on Joel McHale and they made him the main character and he is an asshole made it very difficult to watch. Okay, Biotic Labor Triple Advance will be either Vitruvius. That's fine. The worst case is Luminal. So that's quite okay. Incoming punitive ×2. Narbalicious, how's it going? Alex Horn is the creator and EP of Taskmaster. If he's on the US version, it would be by his own choice. Oh, for sure. Well, but not his own choice as much as like probably a studio in America paid him a lot of money to do it. But yeah, also his own choice by definition, I guess. We want to draw into something that's an event and a run at the same time. We still don't have access to Clot. This is where the 40th card really hurts you when we could have drawn into something better here, but what can you do? We can run HQ here for a single. We just want to snipe hot agendas in our area. By the way, an idea for a deck, but don't know how to execute it. It's BTL deck with Seamless and Tempo Positive Fortios and NGO. Okay, it's another Hyperloop. Not great. I thought it was cool when it came up with it, but saying how it sounds so basic. It's probably fine. Like just rushing and build the last is pretty good. Single advance is what you want to do with, but it doesn't work exactly with seamless, right? I guess you could on the other turn. No, this seems fine for you. So they just draw 2. So if we run HQ again, we have a chance of hitting something. Now that action is coming at a cost. We're not hitting our Anacoms, and we're not as well drawing into our self-modifying code or clot, which is also bad. They have another biotic in hand. They can afford to fast advance out another one. Game Changer doesn't exist. Yeah, no, it's not as bad as it used to be, where you wanted to actually trash all the agendas, because there was a card called Game Changer that when they played it, they got a click for every agenda in your in score area, so they could score at multiple points in the same turn, like multiple agendas in the same turn. It's not like that anymore, so we still want to hit cards, but every card we hit does technically advance their board state. Oh, that makes the last season hit even harder. It's so hard seeing him come to terms with being stuck there. There was more than one season? I had a BTL deck like that, but with Vlad and TLL instead of Seamless. NGO is fantastic in BTL. That's the problem, is like NGO is obviously quite good in BTL, but every build to last deck I've built has been so quick and so fast advance oriented that I've never wanted to like double advance an NGO, right? That's weird. That's probably no, fix it up. Yeah, it's probably not where it wants to be. Here we want to like have a self-modifying code. If it's a Hagen, like we could run into it as a paperclip, but it's more likely to be a Gatekeeper, which if that fires, it's quite bad. We need to get down our Unity and Boost, which is quite bad. And Amakua here would be pretty nice, but we have to draw for that. No big deal at all. Jumon plus Vlad. I missed the generated sports medal, but people needed to make combo ones that were good instead of just silly. Yeah. I'm considering VR-cationing second and third click. I'm not sure it's fully necessary. We could just get down. If we hit a Rezeki, it actually dies to what's it called? Hagen. If we hit a Gatekeeper here, we're pretty miserable about it. They could shuffle things back. If it's a Magnet, it's fine. If it's a Drafter, it's honestly probably not the worst. We could just force this. Gatekeeper is the worst here, and it's very likely to be Gatekeeper. Maybe it's even that like Meridian thing. I don't know if people play that. It's a Drafter. I think that's fine. We have Bagalter, which comes down for 3. It breaks this relatively cheaply once you're up, as long as you have the liquidity up front. But yeah, Drafter is quite a strong card. But if you don't respect it, quite a weak card. I really like NGO and Be It to Last. I'm quite a slow core player, so I get a bit AA with the fast advance stuff. Or a bit, yeah. No, it's the most value you can get out of it. That's for sure. They added Sprint and an unseen card on HQ. So that was the face down card. So they did get value from it. At least we're going to go through here. It's a Nico campaign. Not what we were expecting. I don't think we want to have them to have that. We know they have a Biotic Labor in hand. So having at least 7 credits, sometimes it's less if they play as well like a lateral growth. So I'm going to keep the money down. We can afford to. So here I think we can play the daily casts, which will pay out sooner if I'm not mistaken, and then we'll enter the VR-cation because we can dump most of our hand, let alone we do want to inherently dump the paperclip. So paperclip's out. Misdirection's not necessary. This is good economy. Sure Gamble's fantastic. We won't be able to play it next turn unless they play an econ card. We have to throw out 2 more cards. So another Rezeki is a bit too slow. The Simon Chip is really quite good. Deep Dive is on, like, it's probably our win con, but I think it's the worst card in our hand. It's probably actually the second Rezeki. I don't think we're Rezekiing in this matchup, are we? Let me know if that's wrong. Do you think keeping a Rezeki? You got 2 of them? I know we have 2 Deep Dives for sure. But, like, if they go really poor, we could always panic into one to try and win if we get onto 5 points. If we steal another 3-2, like, this is game point for us. Might go back to Vlad. No joke. I stopped playing it because I got embarrassed when I got the rules on it wrong. Do you have a link to the deck, Thomas? There's no, like, please don't get embarrassed by doing rules wrong. It's so easy to do it. Okay, the issue is here, if we do credit, we have to do credit to Sure Gamble because we want to check some of these. It looks like they could just be Nico campaigns. I don't think we mind either way. They, like, if they get some, like a Rashida to stick on the table, which I don't know why they wouldn't put something behind a Drafter. This draws as a card too. Clot's really important. We could put that on the table last click, but we might just want to check both of these. And then once they purge, we have the Simul Chip. But actually, the Rezekis are really important because for the Simul Chip, we need to trash something. That's something that's worth keeping in mind. This looks like a Spin Doctor. Yeah, there, it's fine. So it looks like it might be 2. Oh no, they're rezzing it. So they missed there's a window here, but they shouldn't have let us access it. You want to pop that. Every time I get a draw VR-cation, I kind of sigh a bit. I need to get more comfortable with throwing cards out. Andrew, we're not going to draw our whole deck. Imagine all of this is on the bottom of our deck, so it doesn't matter. Just throw your stuff out. It actually is better than being on the bottom of your deck to a large extent because you know you won't draw it. So you can plan your game a bit better. Like, people are very averse. People are very averse to discarding their cards. Like, you're not playing every card in your deck, especially in a fast matchup. Just throw it out. It's garbage. Okay. I'm pretty sure there's another Spin Doctor there. We can either trash both or get the clot down. We've already did our event a turn, so I'm not really excited about Creative Commission. Yeah, it's okay. It's a great way to think about it. No, it totally is. Like, you're not gonna play every card. Just throw them out. This is a Jeeves. We're gonna be a bit. It's gonna be a bit expensive. Mandatory 5-minute phone call. That happened last week. What's happening at 9:34 Eastern Standard Time? I almost goofed up really bad this week. I didn't realize my Google calendar like defaults to UTC, Universal Standard Time, so I thought I had a meeting at like 4:30. It wasn't 4:30. I figured out like pretty soon before it was going to be a problem. Western Coast having a life? Imagine. I think they're actually on a 5-minute call. Oh no. Okay, we hang out here now. I'll just have a water. Hoff, how's it going? Sometimes it's not 4:30 p.m. and sometimes it's a real problem. What exactly do you mean? Yeah, I'm really glad I realized what was going on with the calendar. I was like, that's a strange time for a meeting. Oh, you always drink right next to the microphone. Yeah, so what I do generally after every stream is, and I'm basing this mostly off of the end screen. If you just like pause the game, maybe you take a screenshot of it, it'll tell you obviously who's playing and how long the match is. And that's the information that I log into my stats. So they're pretty accurate. For what it's worth, the time of the game, like the time it says you the how long the game is, does not line up with the time in the stats section over here. Because the stats section in here, the timer, if I'm not mistaken, starts when the lobby starts, or like you enter the lobby, as opposed to when somebody hits the first turn. So these numbers are technically slightly off. Not that it matters. You don't need your minutes to be logged. If you have a meeting and you don't think you have one, it's a real problem. Yeah. Drink right next to the microphone. Get that gulp ASMR. Yo, give the people what they want. So this is what they mean when you play Control Shaper. This is actually like a really bad matchup to show you what Control Shaper is, because this deck is way too fast that we actually have to interact. We have to touch their board. We're going to try and figure out how much of our deck we can play without that part being too slow. Because if we just sit back and install like our 2 Rozekis, our 2 Pataps or whatever, like we are going to lose the game very quickly. So we need to keep them honest. We have to score the agendas off the table. There's even some times where hitting the top of R&D can be correct, especially if you have a dirty laundry, just because if it's a free access. And if we get a 2-pointer, 1 game point, then we can win off of a deep dive. Why do you have a tracker when the Netrunner one does it for you? Because this is not like, because this stats only keeps your last 100 games, if I'm not mistaken, at least the log. And this is not an easy way that I can pull up my data and do everything and look at all this stuff. Like, it's way easier on here. And I also do all my board games on here. Yeah, for IRL games as well. Yeah. Hey, Cactus. Good evening. How you doing? Wayne Meowdy. Hello. Ooh. I really do think they took a 5-minute phone call. Oh no. That's okay. It's getting quite warm in here. How's the Netrunner set you're designing coming along? Thomas, I have done very little work on it. What I have done more work on this week. So I talked about this before, but I felt pretty deflated about the Netrunner set because it's a really bad time to show new cards and talk about new cards because it's going to be confusing. There's new players. Yeah, that made sense too, Spin Doctor. There are new players. And on top of that, like, there's new cards coming out. It just wasn't a good time. So I'm going to revisit it later. Right now, I've been working on the Netrunner AI stuff a bit more, and that has been really fun. I've actually put a lot of good work into it in terms of like just getting the state machine up. Like the corpse side, I think works 80% of this time, 90% of the functionality. Now I have to work on the runner side, and it's a bit different because we're making the AI for the runner. So the runner actually has to like do things, and it has to ask you what card's in your hand. When you draw a card, you have to tell it what card it is, as opposed to the corporation where you basically say what your opponent did. So, right, like it's like draw a card, but its card is just a card object. It doesn't actually know what card it is until it's observed. It's been really fun. I've actually really getting into it. Sitting down with coffee. I put in, I think, 12.5 hours this week so far. It's been good. The gold of the 21st century data. All right, there's the lateral growth. So this is the exact credits they need to biotic out. And I'm pretty sure they're going to biotic out here. I don't think they're going to Audacity with this many cards in hand, which means they'll go down to 0 credits. Or no, because they could get credits back. Didn't know where you're working on that. What language are you building in? Also, hi, Dane. I'm building it in Python. I don't have that much experience with Python. Oh, there's just clickless credits for a level, I guess. Oh, maybe they're not scoring out. Maybe it's not biotic. I'm doing it in Python. It's pretty easy. It doesn't have to run at like any good efficiency, so good enough for me. Is it dozen and a half hours, 12 hours, and 30 minutes, or 18 hours? Yes. Oh, they did biotic out, and this is their mega pre, which is the 3-2, so they can get 2 credits here. We can swap ice. The question is, do we want Drafter on HQ? Interesting. I don't think we're gonna be running HQ that much until we deep dive, and then when we deep dive, it's not that important. So we can swap them for now. I don't even know if you do that. Are you a programmer day to day? No. I went to school. I got my undergraduate here in Montreal at McGill in computer science with a specialization in computer games, as they call it. But I, by trade for the last like, 5 or 6 years I've been in the workforce, I have been doing video and content stuff. But that being said, when I do content stuff, I do code. A lot of times when I do motion graphics, all that stuff is using expressions. So they use like a Java type thing. Big thing taking on a hobby. No, I have experience in it. My brother also helps me out a fair bit when I have questions. He does that by trade. But no, I have an education in it at least. I really wish they would implement a move clock so you could basically time people out if you think they just left them wasting your time. It's kind of up to you, Narbalicious, just to like piece out if you think they are. But I haven't run into that. But again, we play the majority of our stuff on stream, so there's a lot of pressure not to do that, I reckon. Okay, this is not a great hand. We don't really even need a creative, but this is the problem where we only have 2 SMC, right? Like we just want a breaker. We've gone through just about half our deck and we haven't found a breaker. We could run R&D for 1. We could diesel again. We just need to find things. Dirty Laundry is perfect. I think we can do Amakua Dirty Laundry. Now we have the Unity for the remote too, but getting the Amakua up, that could be all we need. We just have to watch out because if we hit a Gatekeeper, it will be big strength. I'm going to Dirty Laundry R&D here. If we steal an agenda, we don't get an Amakua counter. It's a Maryland. They can have a Maryland. That is not a particularly good draw for them. And we get the Amakua counter. Here we have to throw some stuff out. Clot on the table is pretty important. We want to get that on the table and then finally bring it back with Simulchip. We're going to go a bit too slow for this. And another creative commission. Oh, we have to throw out 3 cards. Yeah, we're just not going to have a lot of money, that's for sure. I mean, computer science majoring in computer games is probably a good starting point. It's okay. The specialization is like pretty niche where I went to school. It wasn't like a big focus. It was like you had to take a couple courses, but it's not like people who go to school for like the computer game, video game schools. It's a bit more specialization. You didn't even have to have one, right? But I did that because it was fun and we had to take some good courses. The teacher there that did like the 500 level on course on game design stuff is good. Can't you throw a clot and simulchip it back? We could, but I think I'd rather actually play this on the table because I don't think they're going to be fast advancing out. Immediately if they purge away the Amakua too, which is a bit unfortunate, but I want to get this on the table, force a purge, then simulchip. It's a bit greedy. We could have got punished. They could have scored here. So yeah, maybe you're right. We could have just done that. That's probably the Maryland, but I don't know. Okay, so 5 credits. They could res a Gatekeeper. They could res a Drafter. If they res a Hagen, we lose our Anakom. But if they res a Hagen here, they go down to 1 credit, and I think we're totally fine with that. I'm just going to face check here. The Hagen's the bad res, but if they res a Hagen, that's unfortunate. We can let that fire again. There's nothing in the bin. They can bring back a Biotic Labor or like a Lateral, which is okay. But it's not like they're going to be installing a naked agenda last click, which is where you really worry about this. Hey, Alec, how's it going? Red level? That's pretty good, I guess. I don't think we've seen any non-agenda cards we care about. This is just like a clickless credit. Nico campaign from archives on server 7. We could deal with that if we want to, but if we leave it up, it's a way to get free turtle counters. How are the runs? So far, so good. We're playing Shaper though, so that's not classically a good thing for us. Okay, now there's not a lot of ice that costs less than 2 to res, so we'll run server 4. We'll probably bring the Nico down because it is credit positive. Oh, it's a vanilla. Install paperclip? No. So we're pretty sure this is the what's it called? The Maryland. We'll go ahead and check though. It's a Maryland. We can leave that up. It's not credit positive, and it's just about as much money for us as it is for them. This one is credit positive. That one I like a bit less. So we can run that in either creative commission or clot. On 2 credits with a red level in hand, they could actually clot out or fast events out. So I think we'll do the clot. We're also can run HQ for free. They can't res both of these, which is cute. So we're going to trash the one that they can res. Maryland is 2 to res. Nico's 2 to res. So they're going to res one of them. They'll probably res the credit positive one. We'll take it down. We don't get an Amakua counter. Mind you, this has as much strength as it has virus counters, so they could purge away, and they might just purge here. So like resing the Maryland and purging is probably okay for them. How much influence have you seen? We've seen none besides the spin doctors, and Audacity is like 3 influence a pop if I'm not mistaken. There's like no way if they're playing all the 3-2s that they're not running Audacity, unless they're running like Sansan or something wild. I'd be super surprised. There's just like we need something to like, maybe it's actually worth installing an early misdirection. Oh, they want to undo turns so they can res this thing because they missed the trigger. It's an unfortunate thing. Like you res a Maryland anyways. You res a Maryland regardless. All you. Because it doesn't actually do anything, but of course you need to decide to res things before you see the card you mandatory draw. They have too many cards in hand. I think... Yeah, okay, it's all them. But yeah, I'd be super surprised if they're not on Audacity. It's kind of the archetype. So we get our pad tab. So again, this is 6 cards for them, 3 cards for us. That's okay. And we're at the point that we could consider deep diving. Once we get to 5 agenda points, we'd probably just deep dive. At the terms of the 3-2s in the deck, we're looking at 2 more Vitruviuses and 1 more Luminal, and maybe a 4-2, or even a couple 4-2s, maybe even a 5-3. There's a chance there's an Aqua project in the mix, but we can't really interact with that if we deep dive without 5th click, which would for us be entirely what's it called? The lady, Beth Corin Chang. All right, install. We know one of these is likely to be what's it called? Jeeves model Biroids. They didn't purge, so like I don't actually think we're that worried about them doing anything. Like we don't have to really check these. I think we just want to check centrals. There might be a Cyberdex Virus Suite in server 8 or 9. That's what I don't want to check, but like I don't think they're putting an agenda on the table. If they did, that's pretty wild and like power to them. But I'm just gonna run HQ here. We could draw once. We're drawing into largely either Overclock, which we'd play for like whatever, for the fact that it draws us a card and technically gives us a credit here, or for the last Dirty Laundry, which is unlikely, but we're probably gonna draw this turn anyways. That's okay. That gives us something to simul chip away if we need to. Yeah, it's been a turn or two. They did, like, we do want to hit, there's the Cyberdex Fire Suite. So that's, yeah, that's what we were expecting. That's fine. They paid 3 cards for that. This can fire. It's not that bad for us. Like, now they're destitute, so what are they bringing back? Overclock seems good. Yeah, they can't, well, they could res the Butler after the Maryland, but then, like, they're only using it to click for credits. That did also purge our Clot, though, which is unfortunate, but that was going to happen anyways. So it's a red level clearance. And then they can install something. So they could just put the CVS like on the Maryland so that we'd have to actually run it. It's better than putting it naked. It's a Nico campaign out there. They can't res it, so we don't care. So this is Jeeves into Nico is our guess. They have a red level clearance and then some unknowns in hand. Or we know a Biotic. It's another Nico in there. I don't think we care. If we don't trash it, we get an Amaku counter. That's good. There's also CVS in here, so we can't bump into that over and over again. I'm going to put down the simul chip, and I think we're going to create a commission. I really don't think that they can fast advance out with the with only 2 credits they could fast advance out actually. So we'd have to like trash our Amakua for that privilege. I think we'll keep them honest though. And we'll create a commission for the money, but also for the card draw. There's the overclock. We can SMC overclock to get out our Begalter, and then we really don't have to worry about relying on Amakua. Because we have access to all our breakers in theory, at least through this self-modifying code. Because we have the paperclip in the bin, and then these go down for only like what? 2 credits the first time I turn. But this is the issue, is where we don't actually have pressure. We just need to hit centrals and get lucky. Because we don't have like a Stargate. We don't have a Maker's Eye. So. Didn't they trash the Clot this turn? Yes. Do you need to trash if you chip this turn? Yes. We'll have to trash the Amakua, which again, we don't care that much. Like we have access to 2 things. That's the 3rd sprint. We have access to our actual breakers, so we can get rid of the Amakua. Amakua definitely is best if we could keep it around because it does deal with these the cheapest once it's spun up. So we'll see. The thing is, like, do you trash your Amakua if you need to stop advance advance? Yeah, probably. Likely. That's likely to be a Nico, but it might not be. And now we have to deal with the Nikos. I think 10 and 11 are Nikos. Okay. We can overclock server 10 to draw a card. I don't want to overclock server 11. Still could be a spin doctor. So we'll overclock server 10. This just draws us the card. Saves us like, what, 2 credits, I think? That's fine. Caldera, dead in this matchup. That's for sure. So they'll be on 6 credits. Could install Clot for free since it was trash that turn. I don't think we want to. We don't want the Clot to be like something to stop them, to force them to purge. We want Clot to stop them while they're fast advancing. SMC first? Not necessarily. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that was right because we did waste a couple credits. We could have used it first. Yeah, maybe that's not wrong. There's a Begalter. Okay, now the SMC is largely useless, so could have drawn a better card there. So we could put down the Begalter. We could run HQ. Yeah, 11 is a Nico, right? If they res a Nico, they have 4, 5, 6, 7, which means they can biotic out. We've seen 2 lateral growths. Yeah, we can deal with that. We'll just run HQ. We need to get our accesses. I don't love running last click with sports metal because then they can draw with like impunity because they know they're not going to draw into agendas and then be punished by it. So that's kind of one of the bad things. This says 4, but then you get 2 credits after you've gone through it or once you've broken all subroutines. So it's only 2 after. So it's a spin doctor, okay? So now we see the audacity, but also looks like they had a bunch of agendas in hand if they spin doctor to last click, because that means they were trying to bury something. But now we can trash our Amakua pretty easily if we need to pull out the thing. And we have to do that after a single advance, because as soon as they do install advance, then we have to react to simulchip. And we know Server 8, we don't know, we're pretty sure it's a Jeeves. There's a small chance it could be a CVS, and then our Clot lock is like not real. But yeah, we just want to snipe another 3-2 so that we can close the game, hopefully with the deep dive. That's for sure. Our money is dried up too. We could use some money. Okay, it's a Jeeves. No, they're only on 4 credits. They still couldn't Audacity out. They can't really use Jeeves and Audacity. So if they're resing Jeeves, I don't think they're gonna do anything really wild. Yeah, it looks like it's just gonna be a Jeeves campaign. So click for 3, get 1. It's the same as a pad campaign. Cost 1 more to trash. That's totally fine. And they have to discard a fair few cards here. So we could run Spin Doctor to force a shuffle, run R&D. We don't want to run Archives itself because it has a CVS in there, and that will purge our Amakua. We don't have an event. We could always draw once. That's good. We run Server 11. Then we could just sure gamble, run R&D. Yeah, they're going to use it. Let's see what they shuffle in. The CVS they're shuffling, and I'm surprised by that. Keeping the CVS on the table is actually quite nice. Because it allows them, like, we have to respect the drafter, but I'm pretty sure we would respect the drafter anyways. Now if we hit the top of R&D, it's ugly. Maybe it's right to shuffle it in, but I guess we could check Archives now for free counters. Not that the Jeeves is any different. So it's 4, but it's only 2. And I'm doing this first because if there's an Ico on top, we can steal it, and then we can sure gamble after. Maybe we have to trash something, but I don't think there's a lot we have to trash on the top. Yeah, Biotic Labor, that's fine. So this will give us 4 and draw a card. Fantastic. Okay. That shuffles too, so they're not even going to draw the Biotic. I keep forgetting about this, but you have to remember where the Marylands are, because if they choose to shuffle, most people do, it shuffles their deck, so they drew a different card, because you do the start of turn triggers before the mandatory trigger. So that's this thing. It says, when this asset would be trashed, interrupt, you may shuffle it into R&D instead. So we don't know what they drew. A DJ Fenris would be sick too. We have 1 and 13 to get a DJ Fenris. We have, I think, 2 more Diesels in the deck too, or 1 more Diesel. A DJ Fenris means we could run HQ and get like 2 Dirty Laundries back, or even a Rozeki would be fine. The game has gone long enough on that I think the Rozeki would be fine. I'm surprised that this game has gone to turn 10, but maybe that's exactly what Clot does here. What I'm worried about is that they squirrel a red level clearance in hand, and then they can use that to clicklessly install a CVS from hand, so they can get an agenda down, and then maybe with the Jeeves click or something, they can red level clearance down a CVS so they can purge and score in the same window. That would be a nightmare for us. So there's a chance that we actually want to hit HQ just to get the CVSs out of hand sooner than later. Starting with a red level clearance, so they can install maybe a non-agenda card, could be the Cyberdex. Maybe even like a Byroid Work Crew would be flashy. So they're gaining the click. So it's clickless. The question is it clickless card draw, clickless install, or clickless 2 credits, which is clickless 1 credit because it's cost 1. Clickless 2 card draw. Okay. You start your turn with that. Subliminal, super surprising, but probably want to do something cute here with Jeeves. It looks like they do, because they've just played 2 events without spending a click. So if they play another event like a lateral, oh, they just lost their Jeeves there. They technically could, as soon as they advance, we need to react to this. They're not? That was not the turn I was expecting. Weird. Okay. So we're gonna have 12 credits. One of these could be a Nico. This costs us 5 credits to check. We can bounce back by Creative Commission. We want to check all of this stuff. They drew last click, so running HQ is a bit tempting. But let's just start checking stuff, because we can always recover last click with Creative Commission. We don't need to install that. Vanilla has some downsides. It's a last spin doctor. So they just drew 3 cards, and then ended their turn to some extent. So there's a lot of unknowns there in HQ. I think server 12 is likely to be the Nico. I still think we're gonna check with 10 credits. I don't know if it entirely matters. I think if they have a Nico, it's fine. The issue is like if server 12 is Cyberdeck's Fire Suite. We have no multi-axis parallel. The only pressure we have on HQ is DJ Fenris, and the deck has 2 deep dives as a finisher. I'm not convinced we need to run server 12, but we can run server 12, trash a Nico, run HQ, and then still creative commission, which is probably enough for us. I just want to make sure that we get all the Cyberdeck's Fire Suites off the table. If this is a Maryland campaign, that's money for us as well. Like, we're fine with that. So we either run here twice, which is actually pretty expensive because Bagulter only is really efficient for 1 run per turn. And then we probably creative commission for the card draw. Subliminal. Wow, they're running a bunch of those. Okay, so we ran. So we'll creative for card draw. It's another orb. That's fine. Again, 12 cards. We have 1 DJ Fenris. We have a Beth, which once they hit 15, the Beth actually is a real threat, but we just need to get lucky and snipe an early a 3-2 at some point, which they probably have 3 more in their deck at least. We're assuming, again, 3 Vitruvius, 1 Luminal. Can't you use Turtle? Oh, shit. Yeah, we could use Turtle. It costs 2 anyways, but you're right. We could have ran back for Turtle. Totally. Thank you. It costs 2. JTF. Yeah, I forgot. Amaku's at 6, which is good because we can deal with Gatekeeper. Sprint. Again, they res the Maryland, so our pad tap is triggering away, which for us, that's like, they've played a lot of sprints this game. I think they shuffled back into sprint. I did not pay attention to the spin doctor, which is obviously like a bad thing to do. Biotic labor and a sprint. Okay. Hedge fund. Okay. So now they have 15. So if we draw the Beth, we'll actually have 5 clicks, which is good for us. It's also wrong. Like we always want to use the turtle before the drafter, just because there's a chance that we hit a CVS on HQ and then we have to use the Bagulter again. So yeah, if you can use the Amakua, you should use the Amakua. Again, I don't know what they're putting on the table. Not much that we're like really respecting here. They click for credit. That's surprising. Okay. We haven't seen a code gate. We haven't seen any new ice on the table. If we look at our bin, we are missing 1 sure gamble, 1 create, all creative commissions are accounted for, and 1 dirty laundry, 1 overclock. So that's like 1 in 3 chance of drawing a nice event here. That's like quite playable. An overclock would be good. So what's our turn? We want to run HQ. We want to run the server. We probably want to get a Rozeki down just so that we don't have to trash our Amaku if we need to pull a clot. So we can draw once for a dirty laundry. That's the Fenris. That's fantastic because we can do Fenris. We can do here Fenris, run HQ, and then dirty laundry server 4. Fenris is always Steve. You forget there's other options. Legwork wins 95% time here. Yeah, I know. We don't have access to that though. But yeah, this would be really good multi-access. They've drawn a fair bit. Admittedly, sprint is like filtering. So now we pick 2 different cards, or sorry, 2 cards. And then they give us 1 of them. That was a really good top deck. Yeah, Legwork would be good. Even like, what's it called? A Jailbreak would be quite okay. Jailbreak's really nice. I will choose to bin Simulchip and let you have Simulchip the card. Wait, sorry? So use Steve's ability. So we're going to just do 2 dirty laundries, I think. We just want to be able to have like run the remote and get credits. We'll be accessing with 6 credits, which is enough to trash anything, really. It's a Mega Pre. Okay, so we're not on game point. We can move Tau around. I don't think we really want to. Then we can dirty laundry, which will draw us a card too, which we don't care. We can bin the Caldera. We have not got our Tau credit yet. That is a 3-2 we've robbed from them, so fewer 3-2s for them. And we know they likely have an Audacity still in hand. Again, I think server 4 is like a Nico or a Maryland. I'm not too excited to run it, but they just drew 2 twice. I think we just run HQ again. Who thought letting him pick 2 of the same is a good call, by the way? Oh, you always do that. It's the easiest. Yeah, I don't think this is an agenda. Like I'm like worried that they would sneak a CVS on the table, which I don't think is a good thing to do, but it's something they could have done. So I'm going to check it, but like this isn't likely a Nico or what's it called, or a Maryland, and we really don't care to trash those. No, thank you. So yeah, I think going HQ would probably be the correct like pressure play. Imagine if Steve's ability says he couldn't pick 2. That's what I've been saying. I think it'd be a bit more interesting. It stops any like disgusting recursion, like 2 pad tap. Let's go. Reina, maybe Quetzal. Okay. And then overclock is good. Throw out the Caldera. This gives us credits and a card draw, which means we can actually run HQ gaining a credit if we want to use our Begalter. Yeah, I think it'll be way more interesting for sure. I wish it said 2 different cards. At all of these things, Steve is too strong. It's not so much that Steve may be too strong. It's just Steve is boring. And the fact that like DJ Fenris is just going to be Steve the card, boring. Overclock seems good to take down the Butler. It totally lines up well, Dane. I just don't know if we have to actually deal with this. I don't see why. Like, they seem to be some sort of subliminal messaging combo deck. I think they have a subliminal in hand, or no, they probably played it last turn if I paid more attention. Print more Gmods? Yeah, maybe. But, like, it's hard to think of a Gmod that would be, I don't know. Oh, they're really drawing up. What's happening? At some point, we can consider checking archives. We patched him by boring by giving him a wolf boyfriend. It's nicer. It just... These don't do anything together. It's just a slash fic that does it. And Nisei won't let me publish it. If you want Steve to be cool, make a board stay where runners has to make hard choices. Exactly. But again, if they have to pick 2 different cards. But yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. They did not res this. They just drew a heck of a lot. They drew 4 times. There's a lot in archives. So I think we could just like probably deep dive through success on accident. So the question is, do we overclock for fun? I think we could consider overclocking as a joke. So I'm just going to overclock HQ because it draws us a card. We can use these credits, and I'm actually going to use the Begalter so that we actually gain credits. We could use these credits to trash cards if we need to, but... EC should publish a slash fic to tone for the fact these cards exist. Oh, use Steve's ability. Okay. We only have a single Dirty Laundry. I love giving people the choice between Dirty Laundry and Sure Gamble. I think you never give Dirty Laundry. I think it's just a better card. I'll just do Double Diesel because we have another Deep Dive in our deck. And this draws 4. Technically next turn. It's a red level. Okay. They gave us a Diesel. Classic. We'll run R&D. We'll run R&D first because there's a small chance that we hit like a CVS in archives. And this is technically cheaper. Like a fair bit. We just need to hit an agenda here. Oh, it's an Ikoa. Okay, we win. Nice. Shaper win rate on the up. So they are running Ikoa, which makes sense. Otherwise, you have to run like a heck of a lot of 4-2s, and I think we would have seen more. Like you start to have to run real 4-2s. But yeah, just apparently the clot threat. Like I think you need to throw out an agenda and bait the clot, but that's a bit harder when it's backed up by an Audacity where you also have to throw your whole hand out. And once they use all 3 spin doctors, like Audacity gets really ugly. Yeah. That's the fast advance 8. I think you still need to make me use it. I cannot when you rip the Mega Brain. Damn, I'm good. Yeah, deep dive prevented. That's usually what happens though. For a lot of these, like you win before the apocalypse. Yeah, you're running 5-3s. They sprinted a heck of a lot and they still couldn't find anything, which is surprising. What's in the archives? I don't know. Let's ask. Any agendas? I don't know if they throw out agendas at this point. Like all the spins are out. Steve is super interesting. Excuse me, I read that. But yes, but aggressive events like Bravado and Laundry, I know. So res all is the command that they have to hit yes, I think. So yeah, they're throwing out 3 Audacity, which means I don't know how they score out at this point. They didn't want to res the Gatekeeper anymore because they really have to purge the Yamakuwa. We did have the Unity in hand, which still forces us to install it and break. So they probably have 2 more Biotic and not a lot of other ways to fast events out. And they can't really build a remote server. So that's kind of the idea. Is like we played Control, which is basically like we put our threats up and then we started like transitioning to accesses as opposed to like trying to win before the Control happens. But this is not like a really good example of what Control plays like. Bummer. Use ScapeNet and HB fast events deck, maybe? I think you could run ScapeNet. I think you can run Arc Lockdown. You can like red level clearance. They had some options. You could red level clearance in the Cyberdex Fire Suite. Because they popped, what they did is like they used their Cyberdex Fire Suite to like, aha, we got them, and purge Ramaku when we hit a drafter. And I'd argue that's not worth it. Like they know we have Clot, so the Cyberdex Fire Suite needs to be used to like score an agenda as opposed to be used as like a haha, my drafter fired once, right? Maybe they could have used it to reinstall the same Cyberdex Fire Suite. That still was expensive. They went down to 0 credits to do that play. I'd argue that it's an attractive play because it feels cool, but like it's probably not how you want to use the CVSs in this matchup, specifically where you have to deal with Clot. So there's a lot of ways to deal with Clot, like CVS, red level clearance, Jeeves to some extent. Yeah, to some extent. Because you can biotic, advance, install the CVS from hand. That's actually a reason why Jeeves could be brought down. But yeah, you have ScapeNet, you have Arc Lockdown. Found my CVS bottom card. I had biotic top card, so that's an FA2. I could do that, but 0 creds. There was a biotic on top a couple turns back, but you Maryland, not that you know, of course. Free account siphon, yeah, largely. Like you can fire a drafter for 2 credits. That's fine. Especially like drafter really worries me when they install something. Taking back like a red level clearance or like a lateral, it's fine, I guess. 2 hours before the stream, I did on practice and all. So yeah, hey. Oh no. Oh. Oh hey Nana. How's it going? How's your evening? Did Maddie fall asleep? Oh, I think you hear us. I read the CBS. Yeah, for sure. I think so. Should draft her instead the back end. Yeah, I think you don't even res it. Res fire it. It's surprising. A clot is so much more useful. Yeah, the CVS is like a big card you have to play around in the deck if you have a clot, that's for sure. Less so the Amakua, but more so the clot. Okay, so oof. Drop clot down halfway through the deck. Yeah, I had it sooner. I had it soon enough. But thanks for the game, eh? Cool. So the question is like, I think we're gonna play another one of this because this is relatively fun. GG. Because it's I think it's relatively interesting to see the control side of it. We didn't really play it, so maybe we'll be able to see it a bit more. And then from that, we'll try and put this into startup, which I think is totally possible. I don't play enough startup. My startup, like the stats are not like there's not a lot of them, but apparently it's not as strong a format as standard, which makes a lot of sense to me. I play way more standard than I do startup. What does anybody think? Like, what is the strongest thing right now in startup? Like, if you had to play a runner, would you play Shaper? Is there a strong reason to play Shaper in the format? I'd be interested to hear what that is. I'm not actually sure. I guess Deep Dive has been a kind of pretty good. I don't know. For what it's worth, like standard, the ice is actually relatively different. There's a fair few banned cards, like banned ice, that are like some of the strongest ice. And because there's no bans in startup, they're ubiquitous. So the idea like what faction can deal with like Gold Farmer well, or like Engram Flesh well, like that actually has an impact on what's playable. And like, I guess Unity is the best for that, but probably just Boomerang. I'm not sure. I can share my ally list. Lol, isn't Steve in startup? Yeah, I guess he is, but I don't know. Steve can't be the best in startup, is he? I know startup right now, like for better or for worse, is more value oriented. Like there's all the drip cards and then like, you know, Keiko and friends and that sort of stuff happens. But if you got my face mold, I'm walking away with someone else shipping Midnight Sun to me when it comes out. Ooh, that's pretty good. Hey, Gwen. I see a lot of randoms playing Woo armed with Mayfly Flame Out. Oh, but you can't do that in startup. Hey. Is this 11:45? Thanks, you too. Keep getting sniped. Elwin. Chat delay. You got to preempt it. You have to understand when we're about to, and then, you know, apologies. Because Corps are slower, Shaper's pretty solid. You think so in startup? I've been playing Shaper in the GLC startup league mainly because I like green and IRL because sleeving a new deck takes too long at a weekend. Yo, Andrew, real talk. I just sleeve up some decks today and like finding the card, deconstructing the other decks. Like, oh my God, it takes so long. I always forget how long it takes. How am I to lose on stream to have your Shaper numbers go up? Ellen, I appreciate it. We have a bunch of paid actors that do show up every once in a while when the numbers get too low, but for now, we've had to budget them a bit conservatively. Opening hand, built glass, gonna be fast. Gwen was talking about like the sort of seamless launch type deck, so I very much do value being able to check pretty quickly whether this is a Vladisa Burst Grid deck as well. We don't have any economy in our opening hand, but we have a Diesel and an Amakua. That's kind of the best we got going. I'm gonna mulligan this. Yeah, it's not a lot better. We at least have a Clot early, but again, if she is seamless launching, the Clot doesn't really matter. On startup, you play good pile of Ayala? What is even a good pile of Shapers to begin with? Rob, you thought that was bad? You think we could have kept that? Because this is not better. This doesn't feel better. I don't feel good. I feel like Diesel Turtle's a great hand. On this sort of matchup, I think you're right. I did really like Diesel Turtle. But the Diesel needs to hit something good. But like I feel like with 41 cards, yeah, it's gonna happen. So this is ugly. Like I don't know how to play this hand. Like I do think we just install Claude on the table, but we like really need to draw into a Creative Commission or a Sure Gamble here. Nah. Like we do install, but then we can't creative. So maybe we do Onicom creative. That gives us 2 credits. Just draw SMC casts. SMC casts is good enough because she doesn't know that we have the Claude in hand, right? So I think we just do SMC casts a creative. Yeah, I think that's fine. It's a bummer that we're not getting our Onicom value. Maybe we could do SMC Onicom creative. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And then we do cast next turn. I just value the card draw a bit. Oh, fantastic. You don't want to play a good pile on Isla? Seems like you'd waste the mulligan ID. Every card is good. Then drawing from your NV RAM is the same as drawing from your deck. Spin Doctor on the table. I kind of hear you with that. So let's see if Gwen respects this. With this, we can actually run the remote. Like we overclock the remote pretty happily, I think. Likely to be a wall-to-wall. The question is like, what are the breakpoints, right? If she reses here like a border control, it's going to be 8 credits together. So this is 4 credits, will be a bit destitute, but it is what it is. We can draw once, then we do this into this. Ooh, Pat Tap's a bit at the expense of not playing daily cast. The Pat Tap would fire here if we run into like, because the issue is like if we run into what's it called? It's really bad at Mouseless. If we run into a Mouseless, the Pat Tap is sick. I think I'll do that. We can just go ahead and overclock this. There's a chance that we just let this fire and we use this to trash whatever cards in the remote if it's a Mouseless. But I'm expecting like an Afshar, which is fine because it triggers Pat Tap or an Akhet. Excuse me, I meant to say Akhet. So we can do the math. We can let the advancement fire. It's not that important. It does help her get up to Trickle Light if she's on it. But otherwise, we have to install our breaker for 6, break for 2. We have 10. So yeah, we can do it. This means that we don't have a cloth threat, but we have a paperclip. So like, did I do the math wrong? Yeah, no, we have 2. That's fine. We're 1 credit short of trashing wall to wall. I also don't love the fact that we're trashing this with a Spin Doctor up. If it is anything besides an agenda, I don't know if Gwen would jam behind an Akhet when we have an SMC on the table. Like that feels a bit sus. We could also let one of these fire to gain a credit, thinking place an advancement on an installed card. Do we let this fire? Actually, no, because if she advances the Akhet, that's really bad. Yeah, let's not let fire. It's Rashida. Okay, fantastic. And now we could Creative Commission here. I think we're going to need the boost in economy. We have a DJ Fenris. She's down to 6 credits. Fantastic. Yeah, the fact that it was a Rashida, obviously, that's the best. Just my experience against randoms who are not Shape or Tau. Isla, just use it as a guaranteed good thing in a situation. Or my luck is abysmal and the Isla's also got affected by it to have a toolbox and alt hand anyways. I've always kind of felt bad drawing from my NV RAM or your set of side cards. Is she going to hard-hitting news us? I think we're okay with that. We also now know this is kind of the beauty of Tau. Like if she does score out heavily, we can always put this Akhet on HQ and then run for 2 credits to get a DJ Fenris trigger, which is generally worth it if we put back events for Onicom. If I play and res another Spin Doctor to trash, it should. Yes, yes. The game JNet won't let you res, but you can in the game, and it'll like in the rules, it'd just trash the other res one. Yeah, so the idea is that Spin Doctor is unique. That doesn't prevent you from resing or installing another copy of a unique card, but as soon as you do, it trashes the other one. JNet just doesn't allow you to do it. It just doesn't. So you have to manually either destroy this or pop it. So there's just a second Spin Doc. So at least now she has 2 cards. So actually, well, 3 cards that she's probably pretty happy shuffling back. Second ice card and remote server. Ooh, looks like we're going to seamless launch here. We only have 5 credits to our name. Now we're really feeling the burn. Like, it's hard to play control when they're jamming in remote server all the time. So what do we do here? We can check the remote server with 5 credits. It could be an Akhed if it's a Mouseless or a Hordem, whatever. That's 1 credit for us, 3 for them. I don't think we mind. Second Pat Tap means it's even a bit better to check. So I think we do Pat Tap, run server 2, and then hopefully we keep this. Or we clear tag. If we really, I don't even think we clear tag if it's a Mouseless. I played Isla IRL the first time this week, and I swear I needed to check the same 2 cards left in my VRM were the same 2 cards I returned. That's going to happen. No res? She can res. If it's a Whoredom here, it's like, we gain 2 credits. 3 and end the run for her. If it's a border control, right? Like she pays 2, we gain 2. We could let alone break it if we wanted to. 5 credits, not much else I think we're worried about. Like maybe it's a Masfingo, which is just an end the run on 3. There's like no sentry we're really scared of here. Okay. Okay. So we can actually break this. We could let this fire to gain 2 credits. That might be worth it. I'm going to say it's worth it. Hey, actually, I'm only going to, hold on. I think we're going to let it fire. It's 2 credits. That's good. I should let you fire that. You don't think the advance is worth it? I can't tell if I want to let you have that advancement. Okay, let's hope not, Rob. Let's hope that we don't. That's fine. It's another Rashida. Wow. Okay, now we can't afford the daily cast. If only we, you know, if we let that fire, they would put advancement on this. Getting this to like 5 is really quite annoying, but at least it makes the pet taps continuously good. Here we can either draw or click for credit. I think we want to draw. We want a dirty laundry or something. But we're going to have to hopefully they play like score out a hostile or something here because we really want the pet tap credits. So we don't have to click for a credit here because we want to get our daily cast down. She's just drawing. I'm horrible blue control player. I think we should have let that fire. I don't think we're that worried about it. And that would actually give us the money to put down the daily cast, which has a huge impact on our next like 3 turns. Maybe huge is a lot, but all right. We have 3 dirty laundries. We have all the sure gambles. We're going to take an off turn here. Overclock, not particularly great, but it's a good thing to keep in our pocket. So I think we can do credit, probably just daily cast credit. It's just a really ugly turn. Once we draw into a simul chip or an SMC, we can like really get value with the overclock. There is the hedge fund for pet tap. Built the last now, she's advancing. Government subsidy, wow, 15 credits. Okay, so we need to find our Beth. Another daily cast, that's good. We should probably get the clot down. So I think we're going to spend daily cast clot for our last click, so she can't do anything too tricksy here. We could dirty laundry archives, that seems fine. Gets our free card draw, and then maybe we'll just, I think we'll just, let's see, I think the spin doctor's going to get popped here. Bad bishop supporting great pawns. Ugly turns lead to great value. All right, SMC is good too. Again, she might have to respect this as a clot itself. And this actually gets us more value on the table than the clot. So she doesn't know that we have the clot in hand, right? Like 25 cards in the stack. So this on its own might just do enough to deter like fast advance from hand. But again, Gwen was talking about how this might just be like a seamless launch deck. She shuffled in 2 unknowns. I'm assuming that's 2 agendas likely. So she probably only has 1 in hand, but R&D seems pretty ripe. Advance. Ooh, is she calling us on it? No action. Damn. So if this is a hostile, I think we're totally fine with it because we get the bad publicity and we get the Tau ability. I think this is actually quite favorable for us. So I'm assuming HQ Ice got iced pretty quickly. So I'm going to assume that's the Afshar. So I'm just going to get the Afshar off of there. But this is good for us because bad publicity goes pretty far with our very good breaker suite, let alone like self-modifying code and simul chip that you can use mid-run. So I don't mind about that. No. I think that's the one that you do bait with, if anything. Like that's totally good. All right, we can overclock HQ, not brilliant. We can run HQ for only 1 credit, a bit more brilliant. So we can put down DJ Steve, get back 2 creative commissions. Yeah, let's go. DJ for the dogs. Let's go. Continue encounter, of course. He's always there. Yeah, I think people are just gonna get annoyed with this card. Like it's so powerful and just kind of like not much counterplay to it. Just don't let him in. And it's so continuous. There's so much value on a single card. It's disgusting. How does the timing resolve? Does advance enough into scoring warrants and action in between? If they advance to the amount that it needs to be advanced, they can take as many paid ability windows before you take any paid ability windows. The Corp can. So once they put the second advancement on it, they have priority. So they can score, which is a paid ability, before giving it back to you. So you always need to pull the clot out before the final advancement. Because as soon as it's fully advanced, they can just pop it. I'll do creative cremated. Dirty laundry overclock is also quite fine. Haunted by spirit of a grumpy middle-aged man. Make your choice. Another Afshar, okay. We're pretty good with that one. We can move that one around. 22 credits. We still want to be drawing up. Did we play an event this turn? We didn't. So I'm going to do dirty laundry into creative commission just to keep drawing up. Oh, actually, no, we said we would get the clot down. I think we'll do that. So we'll do clot into, because we still have this one. Yeah, we're fine. And an orb is fantastic. So now she has to purge this one away. It's a bit annoying because we only have 2 simul chips to slow her down. So far, we haven't seen any fast advanced pieces. Like this might just be remote server worried about like a Pharos or a Colossus or something really big. Second ice, probably the Afshar. We want to keep that in mind. She drew first and trashed a pad tap. Good stuff. That's a lot of effort. 3 clicks. Credits on a click is a lot. I'm worried about hitting something like a Colossus. Let's draw here. We have these 2. Misdirection probably won't matter. I don't think she's on. She has the money for it, but I don't think she's on tags. Did not purge this, so I feel like we can just play control. So let's just get down our money over time. Eventually, we have access to all 3 breakers right now through the self-modifying code, overclock, and the Begalter, so then we can just hopefully camp the remote. And eventually, we'll get maybe 1 or 2 bad publicity, so we can even go even cheaper. Second pad tap down, feels good. She has the money for that. I actually can evade your simul chip for multiple turns. I was scared that she Audacity played to score qualifier, gets your reaction, which is worth than just losing qualifier. Yeah, I have to pull the, what's it called? I have to pull the Audacity, or sorry, the SMC on the first advancement before you Audacity. So it's a bit tricky, and a lot of people will miss that window. Okay, I think we have enough money to do this. The problem is, do we have enough MU to do this? The answer is likely no. She advanced this. So do we just overclock archives? This is probably an agenda, but do we just overclock archives so that we can use the money on the SMC? I think we do. I think we just overclock archives to use the self-modifying code money with the overclock to pull out our Unity and then charge the remote server. It's a bit ugly, but it draws us a card. If we were braver, we could run Essential. So I'm going to do this during run, so we use the bad publicity and the overclock. We'll pull out probably the Unity. So it's free. In fact, it's more than free. We have 1 credit. We have a deep dive. So if we install the Begalter, we will have 8 credits. Is that enough with bad publicity to break everything on the server? I think so. Okay, mouseless. This is where this gets a bit good. Strength of mouseless. And then we'll break 2. We'll gain. Oh, we don't have pad taps anymore. No. We'll break the 2 that we care about. She can get the credit. A lot of times Amaku is also really good in this deck because we want them to like have a reason to ice up archives, because then you put their meanest ice on archives, which they ice up to stop you from Amakuing for free forever. 13 credits is a lot. I still think we can deal with a what's it called? A Colossus here. Oh, Drafter. That's not what we were expecting, but that's okay. We have the upfront money, so we'll still access with 3 credits. But yeah, we really need the Rozeki drip. We are out of MU. We cannot have more MU than this. 3rd Rashida. That's all the Rashidas. That's all the Rashidas you see. There's the turtle. Okay. It cost us 6 credits to run the remote. She can make us run the remote more often than we can have 6 credits. Like this turn, right? Like we've played 2 overclocks, 1 dirty laundry. Running HQ, if that's the Afshar, is going to cost us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 with bad publicity just to get back a card that gives you 4. It's not the worst because you also get an access. But this is where like we're going to struggle a bit. Like pad taps down, I think was the right play. But now we only have 1 credit drip. Like our economy isn't good. What do? Do we have to transition to Amakua and like trash the paperclip? I think we do. I don't think she's a fast events deck. I think she's seamless. Like it's only the hostiles. So maybe we don't have to keep the clot around. I think that might be right. Like we Amakua for this instead. Ugh. Ugly. Really ugly. We'll draw once for a gamble. Oh, that's perfect. If she scores out like a Cyberdeck sandbox, that's where like things get really gross. Oh, man. I'm going to do it. This draws a card. I don't like where we are. We just don't have the MU for all the drip. Amaku forces ice on archives, which helps. Yeah, I can. Oh, whoa. What happened? Sandbox? Tao's ability? This is an Afshar, right? Okay. Oaktown? Swap ice? Whoa. What happened? So now we can run their mode. The Afshar is now only 1 credit with bad publicity. We're not going to have an Amaku counter. I guess we're going to do that. Whoa. was wild. So we can run this. This is going to be 2 credits. This is going to be 2 credits. We have 1 bad publicity. Let's do it. It do be like that sometimes. That'd do. Yeah, let's go check it out. Yeah, there's the Afshar. We've called that correctly. So this is one you want off of HQ largely, where it goes from being a very good ice to a less good ice. It's kind of like an Enigma. Not bad. This is very similar to Enigma. This is 2 more. This is going to be an agenda, I'm pretty sure. Now, unfortunately, we did put everything on HQ, so our DJ Fenris is a bit stranded. This is an agenda for sure. Yeah, above the law as well. Wow. Swap. How greedy do we need to get? I think if anything, we can swap these two. She's on game point, so like we can win off of the deep dive. So now, like, we never have to break that if we don't want to. Turn. Yeah. She's got us really good with that above the law in the last match we played. Okay. Tao's ability is quite interesting. Like, to be able to generate those haymakers. Obviously, 2 cards in archives, agendas in archives. It's like not the generally use case, but she's going to start to jam out continually. Like if she has a seamless, maybe she's totally flooded, right? But like we've done 2 spin doctors so far. I'm surprised that that's what the hand looked like. Have the nerf? Frank, what do you mean? Oh, the nerf? Okay. So I think we can just close the game off with a deep dive. I just don't think we have the credits this turn. So like she can score out 1 agenda, will be largely okay. This draws us a card. The Resekis are a bit dead here. No punitive? Yeah, punitive would have been quite bad actually. Yeah, if she set up the punitive by like dumping 4 in archives, like that'll get us. Simulchip does access to Clot, which is okay. I don't think else largely we need it. I think we could just run archives twice to set up the Amakua. It doesn't actually matter here. It doesn't matter. We can draw once more. Oh, Beth is nice-ish. There's a chance that she does Seamless Advance, which drops her to 3 and then scores out, goes up to 10. But I'm thinking we just want as many credits because we can close the game by like running, and then deep diving. If this is just an Atlas with a counter, like we're feeling pretty good because that's credit negative. But it's more likely to be a off-rolled or a sandbox. I'd bet the sandbox. Ooh, just an Atlas. Phenomenal. So we're just going to set up a cheeky deep dive. So we're just going to put this on R&D so we're not really worried. We know exactly how much this costs. We'll start a turn with 13 credits and hopefully 8 cards off the top of the deck will do it. This is our finisher. And again, you saw we didn't really like hammer centrals for singles. We just kind of made sure that we could always run the remote server and then haymaker. We're hoping this works. We might not. Okay, 13 credits. So this is 2. This is 2 in sum. This is 2. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6. Yeah, we're fine. We'll run HQ first. This deck is fine. It's good. I do feel sometimes like we draw poorly, we don't have access to breakers, and we're not an aggressive deck, so it's like hard to, sometimes if you don't have the right tools, you can just run aggressively enough for them to like be on the back foot. It doesn't exactly feel like that. So like maybe another SMC, I don't know. It's just the, oh, I keep forgetting about Steve. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Oh, that always happens. That happens when you deep dive. GG. Going for the dive. Oh, how flooded did things get? I thought you'd be safe after 2 spins. Woof. All right. Okay, that's largely it. Like, it's control enough. Control-ish. I do feel weird that like we can't stick all our Resekis, but this has been the first opponent, not that we've played a lot of games tonight so far, where they've trashed our pad taps. And I don't know, like if she had 6 more credits here and 2 more clicks, would that be a big deal for her? Probably, but probably a bigger deal for us, especially when your ice suite looks like that or like that, you know? Ouch. Yeah, you got to start jamming. And this is a thing that's happened before. Like, I think this is usually wrong, but check this out. I've been saying this, I think, as soon as the day started. What was the first thing that Welsh did? Hedge fund? Ice and protecting R&D, ice protecting HQ. This this I think is one of the big reasons. Obviously, like agenda flood will happen, but it is one of the big reasons why agenda flood can be the worst thing for you. I think you're very used to like icing R&D and icing HQ as the first thing you do in the matchup, and there's good reasons too. Against Criminal, you definitely want to ice HQ, right? Like there's diversion of funds in Standard, let alone if Steve is just that ability you're playing. Anarch sometimes have Imp, they have Stargate on R&D, which sometimes is a problem turn one. But against Shaper, you don't have to do that, right? Like if Welsh just jammed these two ice on the remote server, and what isn't these ice, right? Like we've moved the ice for like miles back and forth, like, and then you can just jam every single agenda you draw, because we're not very good at running centrals for single accesses. Like it's just dirty laundry, or we generally don't do it. And I think that's a big deal. It's like a lot of times people will play the central ice the way that everyone's played Netrunner for a long time now, where like if you just have to evaluate the pressure and just go, like turn one, you have an agenda, good, ice agenda, and then maybe score it out, maybe it sits there. But Shaper's not going through two pieces of ice, again, as long as you have the economy to res it, or at least the threat that it could be bad. But yeah, I see that a heck of a lot. I think when I was playing against Maddie today too, and it's the same thing. It's like the basic opening in most corps is ice hedge fund, and like I'd argue in against Shaper, you don't want to do that. You generally don't. If the runner spends 4 credits on Stargate turn one, great. Yeah, it's usually not that bad. If they go down to 1 credit to install Stargate, but if they do like Deuces Wild, hedge fund, Stargate, dirty laundry, like you got issues, that's for sure. Especially if it's Max and she's drawing like clicklessly. But yeah, it's generally if they just go down to 1 credit to Stargate, like fine. And in that case, you're good if you have agendas in hand, right? Because they're not an R&D. But yeah, seriously, that's I think a very big thing you can look at is not always icing up essentials, because we're not going to deep dive on turn one. If we do, it's probably really bad for us. It's our whole turn and 2 credits to get 1 access, like 1 agenda, which I don't think is worth it. And when our deck is meant to spin up, right, to play the control game. Again, it's not meant to be mean criticism at all. We misplay all the heck of a lot of time. That's also not directly a misplay. Sorry, I'm trying to be pedagogical, as opposed to like, I don't want anyone to like play against us and feel bad. Like that's not the point at all, right? Like I call my shit all the two, and all the time too, and you're more than welcome to as well. Not that that was shit. You know what I mean though? Please don't make me more embarrassed. Okay, let's try and make this a startup deck, which I'm arguing is not very difficult. And every time that we show you how to take a deck and make it a startup deck, we show how easy it is on NetrunnerDB. Am I right? Please, maybe we'll get a good one time. Ah. It's getting warm in here. Again, going to shout this out again. We have an event this Saturday. I don't think you're going to be listening to this on a Thursday night and then make the sudden decision to like get on a train and come down to Montreal. But you could. We'd be happy to have you. You got fracture problems? Yeah, we definitely do have fracture problems. So once I'm logged in, I'm going to go here. Oh, no, I'm going to go to the front page. Excuse me. I'm going to open the deck. And I'm going to go actions, copy into my decks. Phenomenal. It'll give me a pop-up sometimes. Yeah, I think Crota would be fine. I'd argue that probably Cleaver is even better and we save influence. I'm kind of a big Cleaver stan. I feel like there's still some high strength barriers though in the format. Like I don't know how we deal with Bron, and I feel like Bron's so good. So now it's copied into our deck. So we go to my deck. I don't know if we're going to be able to change the formatting. That's kind of the issue. So maybe you just want to make a new deck and like kind of replicate it on your own. But then we'll go to edit. Can we change the format of the deck here? No, we can't. Can we? Can we change the format of the deck? We'll go to startup here. I couldn't even get to Montreal in 12 hours. Technically, you have about 24 and a bit because of time zones, but Giles, you better get on an airplane like right now. Oh, actually, huge shout out. Oh, this is going to be a big surprise. Worlds this year is obviously in Toronto, which is in Ontario, which is in Canada, which is in the Earth, which is in Canada. If you don't have a passport, you're obviously going to need a passport to do international travel. Do sort that out now, because there's a huge surge of people wanting to travel or traveling right now who haven't for the last couple of years. So it's like weddings. It's like there's a flood. The dam is broken. There's a flood. You need to look into this now, because I've heard the waiting times are like double, if not triple, what they used to be. There is a chance that if you ask for your passport now, you might not get it in time. There is a chance if things are really quite bad. But if you do it now, you have months. But like, do not wait for like, maybe it'll get better at the end of the summer. I just wouldn't hedge on that, right? Like, do get it, because it's going to take you a while to get a passport, at least in Canada, the specific people who don't need a passport. But you know what I mean? Just look into that, because it's going to be a very bad surprise if you realize your passport's not renewed and it's like a month before and you're like, well, the waiting times are still 4 months. Yeah, the deck builder, actually, no, droids, the deck builder does care about format. So I'm just going to do it manually. As long as you set up a deck, you can pick the format. Legality drop down below the deck name. I think the legality drop down is only for like most wanted list. I don't think it. Oh no, maybe you're right. Consensus seems to be Cleaver is the best startup fractor. I don't know, I'm not surprised. I think that's how I would rule it. I just think you need another way though. Like you can't deal with Brawn by paying. Like you need leeches or ice carvers or botulists or boomerangs or something. You need something to deal with it. I'm gonna do new runner deck, and we're just gonna rebuild it because it's not hard. We're gonna go up here to startup. We're gonna go down to Tafsalonga, and then we're just gonna rebuild it. We can largely do it from memory, honestly, because there's not that many cards. Our collection is set to startup. You'll see how few cards there are. So we're going to do 3 creative commission, 2 deep dive, which is a bit worse in this format where there's no ways to get extra clicks, but it's okay. Crowder isn't much better versus Brawn. Shadow, yeah, actually, that's a good point. 3 harmony. That's 1 VR-cation. That is the deck list on this front. If we go to neutral, we're running a fair bit. We have 3 dirty laundry, 2 overclock, 3 sure gamble. I think we have 17 events. I think the only thing we're missing, no, that's it, right? Yeah, 17 events. Hardware, if we just take a little jaunt over here, 2 Anacom, 2 Simulchip, done. If we go to programs, this is where we're going to run into some issues. Take Swift. I don't think we're going to take Swift. Simulchip is just so good. I mean, wow, Anacom is so good. Yeah, it's really quite good. I don't like Swift. Swift, like, okay, so the thing about Swift is that its influence, I think it's a bit cheaper than Anacom, if I'm not mistaken. But Swift gives you an extra click when you play a run event. And we have some run events. The big idea is that you can do this and then deep dive easily. I would argue that's probably not worth doing. We probably could just add a bit more central access with like, what's it called? Like Maker's Eye or Jailbreak. But the problem with this is like, if you play a run event, you get a click. Anacom is largely that, but it's anytime an event is trash, not even a run event, right? Like what are you gonna do with the click? A lot of times you'll draw a card. So it's kind of the same thing, but we're not spending influence on it. And this will trigger for 17 events as opposed to only like 5. So I don't like it. Flights are only 38 hours and 3.5 thousand for the weekend. See there, Andrew, that's Australian money. That's like $100 American. That's not a real currency. I'm sorry. Canadian monies. We've been that joke forever. So we're gonna 3 Rizeki, 2 SMC. We have 1 Unity. Otherwise, we're gonna need a killer and we're gonna need a fractor. So killer, we can still play Begalter. That's in the format. Fantastic. For a fractor, you generally look at Anarchs. They have the best fractors. I don't know. The code is K. It's not K. Syntax. On other websites, if you like hover over this button, it'll tell you the drop down. Subtype. So S fractor. So it's either Cleaver or Corroder. I'm gonna try Cleaver. It is pretty good at the low stuff, and the high stuff is a bit of an issue. We also had 1 AI that was in the format. We had Amakua, which is quite good. Apparently there's no AI unless we do all the factions. We have Atman and Mayfly. So not that many options. Yeah, Manuel, it's at startup. How's it going? So we have Atman and Mayfly. We might not need an AI breaker. Maybe we can put a Mayfly or 2 as early pressure, but maybe if we just have a self-modifying code, we can use that the same way you would use a Mayfly to go find your answer. So we can do that instead. And just to finish up the list to make it as close to what it was, we have 3 Rizeki, 2 self-modifying code, and we haven't done the resources, excuse me. So resources, there's no AI resources. If you aren't running Reach, Crowder's def better. I don't, really? We have 3 daily casts, and that is it. So we are 32 of the 40 cards. We only had to cut 8 cards in format, and you always want to check what those cards are to see what purpose they were providing when you're startupizing a deck. And so the things we're missing is a clot. Oh, we actually can play that. Of course we can. That's in format. So actually only missing 6 cards, 7 cards. Shut up. And so we have the misdirection, which is something to deal with tags, which isn't as big of a thing in this format anyways. So we could ignore that. We're missing an AI breaker, another solution. We don't really have something for that. So what can we do? Beth is unfortunately not in startup, but yeah, Frank, there's a Beth. Go Botulist. I think Thomas will probably do Boomerang sooner than Botulist, but yeah. But for what it's worth, Botulist is actually quite cute in Tau. I just don't know if we have the influence. Maybe we do. Because Tau is really nice because you can move the botulized ice around, which is great. Could play a single networking for tags. Okay, so the thing about networking, I don't like networking. And the thing about networking is networking allows you to remove a tag, sometimes free, but usually for half cost. The thing that misdirection does, it allows you to remove a lot of tags for 2 clicks. So you can remove 4 tags for 2 clicks, which is a really big deal. You save a lot of money, but a lot of clicks. It's a very good card. The issue with cards like networking a lot of time is like you could just run a good economy card, because all network it does is every time that you play it, you generate 2 or 1 credits, right? So why not just play a card that generates that much money? There's just edge cases in which like You need to play networking on 0 credit to clear 1 tag, but like that's not a realistic thing. So the problem with cards like this is like just play like a Telework contract, which will give you the amount of credits that a networking will give you, but also won't be dead in 90% of the matchup. So that's the way I look at networking, right? Like if it's a card that just gives you a credit advantage, just play neutral credit cards. That's why we end up in the Rezekis, unfortunately. Swift fails the role. I'm not doing it. The Cleaver and Buzzsaw are just great designs. As someone who got into Netrunner with System Gateway, I can't imagine Anarch Breakers being any other way. Derek, let me tell you about Paperclip and Berserker. No, they're great. And they've, for what it's worth, Crowder was like the standard fractor for like the first 5 years in Netrunner, 4 years. You save a click though? No? What do you mean you save a click? On networking? Admin plus Leech. I think you'd really have to build the deck around Admin and Leech. It's possible, but we'd have to like spend some influence on it. We could. Admin and Leech is good. Leech Admin is like really quite good. Okay. That would be like only be worth it after 3 tags compared to Sure Gamble. Something like that. I haven't run the numbers, but it comes down to something like that always, unfortunately. It'd be like, wow, this is just generally not good. And it's also a card you need in hand. That's one of the big differences between Misdirection in these sort of decks is you can pull Misdirection from your deck or from your archives or your heap, excuse me, with self-modifying code or simulchip respectively. That makes the value of the card so much better than just a card in your hand. Interestingly, the fact that networking fires Anacom is kind of cute, but like, oh boy. Tautman sounds like a deck. Paperclip feels like a Shaper thing to me, to be honest, but maybe I need to play with more cards. The fact that it's like a really efficient breaker kind of makes it feel like Shaper, I guess. But yeah, it's just that in theory, Anarchs are meant to have the best fractors. If you're looking for good ways to spend influence, I really like Forge activations in Tau. I think I liked Forged a fair bit too when I was talking about it before. Or Emergency, right? Like, D-Res effects are fine in Tau. But I think that actually there's a big chance that just playing Botulus is good enough, right? Like we can play 2 Botuluses and still have an influence. And this is a card that we can put on ice and then move the ice around. And that's kind of nice. Hey, Gwen, good game. Yeah, so that's a possibility. I feel like that's quite impactful, especially for a meta that's potentially faster. The issue that like always catches me when I get to startup is like I change the deck, but I don't address startup as a format itself. Like I don't know. I'm not very good to ask what's good in startup. Like how do we deal with gold farmer? How do we deal with X or Y or other situations that are startup specific? Okay, so we look at the deck. We lose by doing this. We lose a huge value over time engine of DJ Fenderson Pad Tap. There's not a lot we can do to address that. I think we're playing just about all the value over time cards, unless we want to play like Paladin Puemo, something like that. Caldera is arguably fine in the format. You could always, for this exact influence, you could also play that neutral box that allows you to put cards on the bottom of your deck, whatever that is. Bravado's a lot of influence. You could play Bravado. I think Bravado would be a bit better if we also had DJ Fenris. But yeah, Bravado's obviously not bad. I think I'd sooner play another Overclock and SMC maybe. Rulings, if you play networking and choose to add it to your grip, do you draw 1 card with Anacom? Oh yeah, I don't think you do because you don't trash it. That's a good point. Yeah, I think you're right because networking doesn't get trashed. Because it goes from like the play space, it goes from limbo back to your hand. Yeah, Xron, that would be neat. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't even get trashed unless you actually like play it and discard it, which generally doesn't happen with networking, right? That's really funny. Thanks for the game. Just skimmed through the recording. Oh, of course, Gwen. Yeah, there's definitely can watch over that. It's really interesting always to see from the other side. Okay, we have 5 more cards. I think we want to play a bit more multi-axis because I don't think the deep dives are as consistent as we want them to be. We have 1 influence to spend right now if we want to do the Botulize, which we don't have to. I think if we're doing another Botulus, we could consider a 3rd Simulchip. It's fine. The Anacoms are fine. Resources, we could play a bit more. Value over time resources, we don't have that many. I think Telework Contract is still pretty good. It gives you 8 credits over 4 clicks, which puts it on par with, obviously you can't do it all at once, but kind of on par with something like Liberated Accounts. We could play 2 or 3 of those. And then we could play Overclock. Maybe we drop a Telework and play 2 copies of either Maker's Eye or for even more card draw. And more flexible multi-axis, we could play 2 copies of the Neutral Jailbreak. We could also run another self-modifying code if we needed to, but I feel like the Botuluses might be that like stopgap. So if we can't find the program we need, we have the Botulus support, but like this seems fine. The Turning Wheel, Rob, at startup, we can't. Is there anything that anybody feels really strongly that could or should be in this deck before we like give it a terrible name and try it out? But like this just feels like good fundamentals. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have any spice and we need a spice. We need something unfair. And right now the most unfair thing we're doing is getting a credited turn. Ooh, the orb. Singleton tread lightly. Oh yeah, 6. Singleton tread lightly. I totally forgot we can do that. What are we cutting? I think we cut a deep dive maybe. I don't know if we want 2 deep dives. Is one a VR for +1 draw? I don't think I fully understand your question, Andrew, but VRcation is a one of, like, it's not a card you always want because you generally have to work on getting this to fire, but like it's still pretty good. It's probably not necessary to the deck, but like you want a modicum of draw. There's a chance that like our jailbreaks, which are the opposite of control shaper, mind you, get you there. MU looks like an issue. Thomas, that's a good point, actually. We added the botulists, which are more permanent MU thing, and MU was already an issue. So I think we'd have to like add 2 DZs. Not loving where this is going. If we want to play full control, we could drop these. My XP with startup is that Liberty is the best splash. I believe it. Telework is like not too far off, but yeah. We could do this. Like that's 40. I do think you're right. The DZs, like we have a fair few installs. Drop VR for DZ. I like card draw a fair bit. Like our deck doesn't have a lot of card draw. It's just 3 Diesel and then Onacom. So don't love cutting more card draw than we need to. Yeah, we dropped the jailbreaks. Feel like no money with that Rezeki up. Yeah, it's kind of like the other deck. Well, our money is like Diesel, Sure Gamble, Rezeki. We had telework casts. We don't have pad tap, unfortunately. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll try this. But again, this is the sort of thing where you do testing and you figure out like, oh, we'd be better with Crowder. Oh, we need more burst economy. Let's drop this to play something else. But this is probably a shell. There's an issue. There's a chance that like the 3rd simul chip is not necessary. There's a chance that we only need 1 DZ-MZ optimizer. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Because I don't think we're going to end up installing everything before the game's over. So like, let's talk about our rig. Our rig ideally is one of each of these breakers. We flatly have 5 MU because we're always installing our console if we can find it. So it's 3 of those, 1 Botulus, 1 Rezeki. So ideally we have another slot open. Yeah, let's try 2, but I don't think it's necessary. Okay. Greg just startup. Screenshot for posterity. Let's go. That being said, last game in our Belicious was like, oh, actually no, the one before that was a faster game, so we were discarding some stuff that we like didn't need to squeeze the most value out of over time. Okay, new runner deck. Don't make me write this again. Startup, Tau Salanga. Cool. And we're gonna go. Elwin, if you want to play startup deck, I will wait about 30 seconds for the stream lag. It does say it here, but I'm going to just do this so there's no surprises. But if you pay attention, it says underneath the name. I just think it's a bit subtle. I clearly don't read a lot. Okay, now we wait. I think the chat delay is only like 6 to 7 seconds, but I guess it depends where you are in the world. All right. Owen's rushing back from the bathroom. Let's go. Whoa, it worked! It worked! I do not think that would work. I didn't even know if Elwin was still watching. Hell yeah. Where can I find out what cards in various rotations? Pocket Jacks, how's it going? Give me 1 second. Hey, Elwin, give me just 1 second. What do? There's 2 ways. If you go to nisei.net, you can go to, oh, I never know what this is. I think plus players supported formats. And then here, if you hit the format, it'll tell you itself what's in it. So this will be the standard legal sets. It'll tell you all the names. If you click on any of these, it'll open it up. Not the easiest, but whatever. The better way that I would do it, if you want to look at cards, is head over to netrunner.db.com in your web browser of choice. And then you can go to advanced. And then down here, if I'm not mistaken, is there a format? Hold on. Is there a format thing? There usually isn't. Shit. Okay, so what you can do is go to advanced, go to card search, and hit Z. Sorry that it has to be this cryptic, colon, and say you want to know the startup card pool, just write startup. If you want to know standard, hit standard. I think that's the way I do it. This is all the cards, and then you can sort by faction. You can sort by faction. You can view as images. That's the easiest way to do it. I think there might be a way on the advanced page to choose startup alone, but that's how I would do it. If you want to just look at things, go to images only and like enjoy your nice little card wall. On top of that, if you know more of the syntax, which you can find out in this corner here by going to the syntax tab, you could search by like What F is faction, so you could do F Shaper, and you're good to go. But that's how we do it. It's either Nisei or this. This is easier for me, at least. Okay, let's do it. You're right, F Shaper. Oh no. All right, Owen has some jank. They said Earth Station. This might be Vladisibirsk. All right. Thanks for your patience. Best of luck. Have fun. Pocket, did that work out for you? Did I go too fast? Okay, opening hand. DZ early is okay. We have Dirty Laundry Cats Creative. Like, it's no Rizeki, but this gives us some aggression and some economy. We have a drip card. Technically, DZ's a drip card. Like, you'd want that sooner than later. And if you pop the self-modifying code on the corpse turn, DZMZ will give you your first time per turn. So keep that in mind. What are they trying to do? I'm assuming there's a Kayambe grid here. This is Earth Station, so it costs us a credit to run HQ. Eventually, they might flip this over, and then it's 6 credits to run the remote server until we run HQ. So we're assuming their deck has border controls. No, just kidding. Can't in the format. Kayambe grids, Akets, Afshars, maybe a Winchester, but Chrysium grids. Those are the ones that are definitely a given. And a lot of times you also see something else in the remote server. That's a lot of jargon regarding standard v startup. In terms of the things you have to search or the names of the formats. Because if you're saying that's hard to search up the format itself without knowing the jargon, you're very right. And NetrunnerDB is aware of that, and they said they're going to do a bit better to get that a bit better. Actually, oh, hold on. This might be a better way too. If you just go to NetrunnerDB and then you go to sets, is there a way to sort it here? Because this has all the sets, and there's technically a checklist on the side here, so you can see what's in standard or startup. So startup is only the stuff at the top, so you can just open one of these. That actually might be an easier way, in all honesty. That you just go to sets. You don't need to know any of the thing. The names of the formats, yeah, I don't think they're great. I confuse them all the time. I say gateway, startup, standard all the time when I need to say the other thing. So I hear you, but that's, yeah, it's just kind of technical jargon. When building a deck, there's a collection checklist. Is there actually? Because Andrew, that would be sick. And I should have known that before I started talking. One bad publicity. Access on top, that's a Whoredom. No surprise, we should have planned our whole turn here. It looks like it's going to be daily cast DZ creative. I don't think we need to, but we could. Running HQ costs a credit. Yeah, let's just get down to everything. I don't love often showing that we have the self-modifying code because now they understand what we're capable of. We know they have a Whoredom. It's in the top right. Ah, shit. I know it's in the deck searcher, but I don't know if there's an advanced. When building a deck, there's, oh yeah, when building a deck, Andrew, I know about that. When you're building a deck, you can change your collection in the building view. That's for sure. Okay, so one of these could be a Whoredom. They hit a hedge fund up. I remember way back in '96 at the MTG World Championships, we played a lot of Netrunner in the downtime. It was a great game. It's a shame it never really took off. Well, Pocket Jacks, that game didn't, but the game after it, like FFG's Netrunner, was like obviously a huge deal. It was like top 10 of Board Game Geek, selling out. Like it was huge. Right now with Nisei, I would imagine the player base is a bit smaller, but it's definitely growing. And in a lot of ways, it's a better game too. Okay, an Anacom would be sick. We just want to play control. There she is. So we just hit that button, draw a card. We're looking good. We're dripping up 12. We're going to be at their 14 soon. I never got to play. I was way too young in '96, but I have cards and I have played the what's it called? I still have actually a sealed like dual decks of original FFG Netrunner. I don't know if it's worth money, but I haven't opened it. I bought 2. One I opened to play. The other's just still in the plastic wrap from like 1995 or whatever year it was. It's really cool. I don't know what it's going to take for me to open it. It's on the shelf. I don't know how many of those are still in the wild that are unopened. I don't think it's probably that rare. Okay. Now we have to watch out for Archer. That's the one scary thing. Luckily, we have 3 simul chips, so like we're not too scared. If we want to check the remote, it doesn't cost us 6 because they didn't flip. We just have to run through that. And overclock would help a heck of a lot. Let's Diesel. That'll draw us 4 cards. If we dirty laundry the remote server, we really need to make a successful run. If we do that, we'll be short 2 credits. I think we could actually just dirty laundry this remote and then end with a thing. I don't think there's anything we can't get through for 12 credits, barring if this is an Archer. It's not a very good Archer because it just eats an SMC, a self-modifying code. We should be able to get through with 12 and 1. Wow, a Ballista. Damn, you don't see that a lot. Funny enough, this is where it gets awkward, where they have to hit end the run if they want to protect it. I'm glad we made them spend money. We could botulist this, or we could pull out thinking. We could botulist this, and then this would be a liability. I think we're just going to botulist this. Am I wrong? That's the issue. Like, this card is so bad in Gateway when botulist is around. I hate rezzing it. And now they're going to trash this. You don't want to end run? So now they can trash this because this is such a big liability that we can tow this thing around. This totally a bit unwell ballista that doesn't do anything. There's no Cyberdex Fire Suite. Ooh, an Atlas. There's no Cyberdex Fire Suite here. So there's usually Afshar on HQ. So I'm going to pull that off so we can run HQ here. We can't run right now. So I'm just going to, again, put down the daily casts, try and get more value over time. Again, it costs 1 credit to run HQ, but 1 credit and a botchless counter is pretty good. Played Netrunner sealed at Wizards of the Coast headquarters during that trip. Oh, that's super cool. I know very little about like what the scene looked like back in the day. Like I don't even have a good idea what Magic looked like back then. Like how big it was, how competitive events were, what, you know, what communities look like, stuff like that. I just know about the magazines and I've seen the magazines. I think actually pushing this into off the remote server might have been the worst thing we could have done. Oh, that's really good. Too bad publicity will go pretty far. Generally, this is an Afshar, and that is okay on R&D. And the thing they put on R&D is usually a mouseless, which is okay on the remote server. Draw 4. We could just Dirty Laundry HQ. Server 2 further station. Wait, that's illegal. That's a good point. I didn't notice that. Here, I think we can take some time to Dirty Laundry HQ for 1 credit. Gain some value back. Play the DZMZ and then put down another daily casts. We're drawing through a deck pretty aggressively. This botchless feels really good. Too bad publicity though. We just need to get our breakers down as soon as possible. Luckily, I think we've seen every single can of our drink. So that cost us 1. Agenda Rip. Palisade. Okay. That actually is a bit annoying. It's 3 credits for our cleaver, if I'm not mistaken. We'll put the DZ down. We're going to install a lot of stuff still. And then we'll get 6 credits on the top of the next turn. Oh, no, mouseless in startup. Excuse me, Seabass. Yeah, you're right. So we know there's a Whoredom likely on server 2 or R&D. I'm assuming Daily Castron. Oh, perfectly in/out of sync. Oh, they're not perfectly out of sync. We're missing 4. Yeah, excuse me. It's not mouseless. Yeah, so what do we expect? Like Colossus might be annoying. Again, Archer would be fine. But otherwise, like Pharaohs, Aket. What's the good Wayland dice? I think that's mostly it. Whoredom's okay. I think the stuff in Gateway is not particularly flashy. You're seeing this Ballista being a huge liability here. I'm old. Trebuchet is good. Yeah, Trebuchet is good, but like it's hard to give 3 bad publicity. That being said, the bad publicity doesn't play for either side of our station, but like there's only so much bad publicity you could take on. Trebuchet though is very, very good. It's just I find it so much harder in startup. Okay, double ice, good. Keeping us out. They sprinted as well, so R&D might be a bit more juicy. Let's draw 3. Another botchless is sick. We have access to the SMC. We want to install the Rizeki first because the DZ is first program you install. Might as well get some value from it. So that's 1 credit for 1 credit for the rest of the game. Lol. We can get the SMC down. Last click, not a lot to do. The Simul chip gives us access to another SMC, which is important, and we're largely set up. Like we're going to be on 20 something credits, 21 credits next turn, 20. And so now, like one of the coolest things you can do with Botulus is install, like trash the Botulus with Simulchip and install a Botulus and then start your turn, like do it on the corpse turn. So technically you install it anyways for free with the Simulchip, but it means that at the beginning of your turn, it'll have 2 counters. So you can get through like Trebuchet, you can get through some of the Archer, you can get through, you know, a lot of things. The new melange isn't too bad in startup if you got bad pub. Oh yeah, I just seen so many more people play Regolith over what's it called? Roughneck Repair Squad. Yeah, you're right. It's not bad, but Regolith makes it look a lot worse. All right, 16 with an overclock. We can probably just charge HQ, pull out whatever breaker we think is going to be the most relevant. And we draw all our draw cards besides, I think besides the 1 VR-cation. We've been pretty fortunate. It's like turn 6 and we've gone through more than half our deck. Now, so much of our economy is going to be on the little green orbs, so we need to get those on the table too. Jaja hedge fund. Okay. I don't think we have to do anything here. Overclock, HQ, we'll draw as a card once it's trashed with 21 credits with a bad publicity. If they don't res anything here, we're just going to pull out, I don't know, Bagalter. We've seen a Whoredom, but I guess you always want to pull out something before you pull out the Unity. just to get it to be a bit better. Or a Zeki. We could have pulled a Zeki out there for 3 credits. It's not the worst. Or pull a Zeki here, you're saying? Honestly, maybe, yeah. Oh, there. Okay, so that forces our hand. So 2 credits. If I wish I used the bad publicity before we use the overclock credits, but we're going to be able to use all of it, so no big deal. Oh, it's at the bottom. Wow. Kind of expensive. But this gets better once we install more icebreakers. And again, yeah, Tau moving this, like, I think you want to overinstall the Ballista. Just giving us this, like, botulist ice is such a liability for Tau. Oh, this. I don't know, man. Ballista, when there's so many boomerangs and botulist, feels bad. We paid 1 credit for this privilege. We see a Palisade. We draw a card. It's a telework. We can install that. We can hit it. We have access technically to, we've already trashed a card, so we can simulchip in the SMC to run R&D. We only have 1 deep dive in the deck, funny enough. Let's just run R&D, force them to spend some money here. With bad publicity, like, we can use the simulchip aggressively enough. We have 3. But if they res here, we've already trashed a program, so we can just simulchip in the SMC, or yeah, I guess it would be the SMC. Can't be there, had an event, but beware next time. Yannick, we'll be looking forward to you next time, man. Sorry it didn't work out. Okay. Atlas, okay. Swap with Tau. I think we're pretty okay with things are right now. Like, we could always pull this off HQ. Oh, no, wait. That's not what we want. That was a misrun. We want to run R&D again. Why are all my slam dunk wins off camera and with net decks? Oh, yo, you record that, and you ooh, Hansei review. That's a surprise. For what it's worth, I think a lot of people do play better off camera. So we can install the telework right now. It's fine. You generally want to get value out of this. We could just install it now. It's not like we're in a rush to hit it. So a lot of times these cards you can use once per turn. You want to use them the turn you install them. At our point, like, we don't need the liquidity that much that we're like really worried about this. Like, we have 2 bad publicity and we're still going to start on 20 credits next turn, 21 even. I can't drain you enough. I had a good econ start. But 2 bad pub. That's some bad pub. Yeah, 2 bad publicity goes pretty far. Like, what do we eventually run HQ for free? Well, 1 credit because of Earth Station. We haven't seen a Crisium. We know they have a Palisade in hand. I totally forgot what we saw off the top of the deck. What did we see off the top of the deck? Oh, Hansei review. That's fine. They could use the money, I guess. Influence spend is something that's interesting to track. We've seen a predictive. We've seen a sprint. These are small fry influence cards. So I don't know whether they're going to be on like a La Costa. That's kind of popular in this, but you need a good reason not to run. They did trash card. You need a good reason not to run, what's it called? Kayambe a lot of times. We want to make sure that we can afford to either run HQ to flip or pay 6 credits to run the remote server. So we want to always keep a bit more money than we need on this actual turn. All right, let's draw for an event. Cleaver, that if we install it helps our Unity. We install it for 2 as well, which is not bad. Draw. Okay, so we can run R&D, install an orb. It's good enough. We install the orb for 1 with the DZ. We're trying to get a res here. We'd have to trash something if we wanted to pull in, but we can always trash this botulist to install. No further actions. I don't know what that ice is. Government subsidy. Okay. So another orb. 1 credit a turn. Honestly, though, the most fun in Netrunner is smashing into things. I just played a Hoshigo deck against a Reality plus AR enhanced deck. Just not bother putting anything except a Rizeki, 2 botches, and then DreamNet. Yeah, I think you can win with very few cards in that matchup. Because like that matchup, there's not that many problems they bring up besides obviously tags, which if you just keep them, it's less of an issue to deal with. But like there's going to be repercussions. And then like, yeah, if you just have a modicum of credits, some of their ice is just trace ice. Like you can deal with it. I've had a lot of fun in those matchups a lot of times where it's just like trying to scrounge together enough. All right, they flipped. So we want our NHQ. So this is where we do the math, right? We actually could have maybe thought there to simulship a botchless here. So 6 credits to run the remote server. And then they have 20 credits to res ice. We have access to not all our breakers. If we install our cleaver, we can always move the botchless. So the question is, how much does it cost to run HQ? Because we install the cleaver for 2. Then we could run HQ. This will cost us 4 credits. This will be free. So it's technically cheaper in some ways to run HQ than run server 2. It's just the click. At that point, we'd have to like move our bot list. I think we're going to do it. It might not be necessary. This comes down for 2. We run HQ. Oh, bad publicity as well. So it's not even a lot of money. It's mostly free. We could give them a credit, honestly. 1 credit for them, 1 credit for us is a 2 credit swing, but the difference between them having 20 and 21 doesn't matter. That being said, if they res like a, what's it called here? A Pharaoh's, like we're going to feel a bit better if they don't have all the money in the world. So this will flip them back again. The other side of this says as additional cost to run the remote server. There's a ballista. So now we can run server 2. We could consider actually hitting the telework first just to give us more money, but 22 is probably enough. Almost definitely enough. The only awkward thing is if we have to pull a sentry. There's the archer. Okay. So I think we are going to pull the sentry here. The question is how we do this. Thinking. They also lost an agenda for this privilege, which is okay. But Gulter deals with this relatively well. So we trash, it's either we trash a Rozeki or we trash this botulus. I think we trash this botulus because once we have a Gulter, the ballista is not that bad. It's 2 credits. So we're going to go ahead, use the simul chip, trash the botulus, install the SMC, crack the SMC, install the Gulter, encounter the ice, pay 9, which is only 7. Again, eventually that'll be 2 with bad publicity. Let me move my face. There's a Gulter behind my head. And then we can continue. They have 16 credits. Another archer would be annoying. Was there a reason you installed before running HQ back there? It technically helps with the what's it called? But like if we wanted to run this remote server, we wanted the cleaver anyways because we knew the palisades were out and about. So that's largely it. I don't know if it actually hit any breakpoints with the Hordem, but it's like either you install it before or after you run HQ, and I felt like it would be better. We're gonna get destitute here, but I'm pretty sure this is like I don't think this is a wall to wall. I think this is an agenda. 13 Hordem. Okay. This now actually is, I think, a fair bit cheaper. Yeah, it's now only 3 credits instead of 4. Fair bit. Actually, 0.25% cheaper. Yeah, I think we saved 1 credit on Unity because Unity cares about how many installed icebreakers. 4 credits. It's in the Zeph protocol. We're on game point. Swap with Tau. Yes, don't mind if we do. We're going to put the Palisade on a central server, which is disgusting. We definitely want to keep the sentries apart from one another. So now running this this cost us 3 credits to run HQ, but I'm just going to recover because we're playing control is that we just want to always have enough money to run the remote server. Eventually we're going to put a botulus on top of the archer and then just hope they can't jam soon enough for that to be a problem. This is where we'd want our jailbreak or Maker's Eye or our 1 copy of Deep Dive to close the game out. So maybe we do play 2 copies of Deep Dive. But yeah, we're on game point and they still have a lot of work to do. Like they still need to score 3 agendas. So we could just draw every click and probably get to our Deep Dive sooner than they can win. They do have Chrisms on HQ though. Punitive. That actually helps us. No. Do we want to pay 5 to keep this hand? I wasn't expecting punitive on 2-pointer. Oh, it's not even keep this hand. It's keep 1. How many did we steal last turn? Only 1? Only 1. Just checking. Only stole 2 points last turn, right? Punitive on 2-pointers is wild. I wonder if they're on like some neurospike thing. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so we could pay 5 credits to keep one of like 3 of these cards. Like we want to keep the simul chip over anything. If we lose the like the word we don't want to keep is the clot. I'm just gonna hope that we don't keep the clot. Yeah, fine. That's plan B. All right. All right, they didn't do anything besides put a Chrism on HQ, which if they res that, that's totally fine. So now we can just take a turn to set up again. So we'll draw, try and play an event. Simul chip is a botulus. That's fantastic. We probably do want to install a botulus on here. It's only for 1 credit. Oh, that's perfect. I was going to hit the telework, but that's even better. So we'll just install the botulus on here, and then we'll just telework. Fantastic. Money draws into more money. Phenomenal. So 10 cards left. We will open probably with a gamble, which will draw us a card. Once this gets to 3 counters, that's all that matters because the archer only has 3 subroutines we really care about. They did predictive for money, surprising enough. Gamble to draw. Okay, dead draw. We have 1 deep dive. Okay, we have a telework. I feel here we could just run HQ. We won't die to a cheeky snare, and we break for very cheaply. It costs us 1 to run, 1 to for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 for this. Did I do the math wrong? No, 2 for that. So yeah, we'll just do that. And then last click, we can hit telework. This is very likely to be a Chrysium, which if they res now, it doesn't really do anything. Oh, I forgot we had bad publicity. This is pennies. The third agenda, this is a new one, Manuel. This is Azef Protocol. It just came out in the last month or so. It's part of the Midnight Sun booster pack, which is 7 cards from the upcoming set. That Nisa gave us a bit early because that set's going to be coming out at the end of July. So it's a 3/2 Wayland agenda that says there's an additional cost for them to score it. They have to trash an installed card, but when they do score it, we take 2 meat damage. So everyone gets hurt. This means that Wayland decks can run like mostly 3/2s. They can run 7 3/2 agendas, which is pretty wild. Yeah, this costs us nothing. Card from hand, Palisade, classic. Thanks. No, of course. Ask if you don't know or you can't tell what anything is. These cards are like obviously very quite small. Here we could draw, we could telework. Next turn will be on 18 credits. That feels like enough. I think we're just going to draw into our deep dive. We don't have the MU for an orb. I think we have another DZ in our deck if we need to. But when we're getting 3 credits at the start of our turn, like it's really rough for them. Government subsidy. They're on 15. I think we're going to run HQ every turn. It costs us very little. Icing up archives, that's a liability a lot of times for Tau because we can put the Archer in archives. So I don't think you want to ice up archives a lot of times if you don't need to. Draw once for a run event. Is rotation for startup soon? Yeah, Crampon, or Cramps in, excuse me. There will be a rotation as soon as the new set comes out. So as soon as Midnight Sun comes out we're assuming the end of July, Ash's cycle will leave startup. So startup will actually have 65 fewer cards than right now because 120 cards are rotating, but 65 are only entering because Midnight Sun is like, it's half of the Borealis cycle. What's the end goal being deep dive? Why not trash Chrysium? Because we don't need to. If they res it, maybe. But yeah, we don't really need to. Like we're gonna get so many accesses on the way. Like we could. I just wanted them to res it first. Maybe it's worth trashing it before we have to run the remote. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's actually worth trashing. I think you're right. I think that's a good point. We should just trash it. We have enough money. And it stops them from like flipping and flipping this. So we don't have to run this twice. Because running this twice is actually pretty ugly. Because Begalter only works once. Card from hand. We're just hoping we win soon enough. That's a surprise. That is a nice target to get down our Ballista. Or sorry, a Botulus. Yeah, we'll trash it. We have the liquidity. Okay, so we're just gonna hit the telework here, and the question is whether we do the Rozeki next or the DZ. If we hit the DZ and don't use it, it's a bit annoying, so I'm just gonna put down all the money cards. This is not unique, so we can hit each one once. So next turn, if we need to get 6 credits and then charge the remote server, we can, which is good, because they really don't have an out here at all. 6 cards left. We didn't draw that turn, did we? Maybe we drew first click. Hey, Kevin, how's it going? Maybe we should check archives. They've hindsight some stuff. I don't know what that's about. We haven't seen a Spin Doctor yet, but Spin Doctor a lot of times is harder to play in Earth Station than other IDs because you have to put it in your only remote. I'm assuming that's to be like a wall-to-wall or something like that. Here we could run this server. Again, it cost us 3.6. This is free. We wouldn't break all the subroutines, and we bad publicity, so it only cost us 4. Let's draw for a Dirty Laundry or something. Oh, that's what we need. Can't do it this turn. I'll just check it. They can get 2 credits. Them being on 20 or 22 really doesn't change anything because we don't have to worry about punitive because if we steal an agenda, we win. If anything, we need to put the Simul chip down so that we have access to like a quick second Botulus if we really need one. If they install like a toll booth and we don't want to deal with it. But like Unity dealing with toll booth is like 6 credits after the on encounter. All right, they gain 2. Is this a deep dive deck? Yeah, Kevin, we took the deck list of the week, which is basically Greg's deck, and then we startup it. We have only a single deep dive because we're not playing Swift or there's no other real ways to gain clicks. So it's our finisher. I feel like we wouldn't mind having a bit more multi-access on top of it, but we're largely just playing Control Shaper, and it's doing its thing so far. Oh, excuse me. We could give them a credit there. They can have a credit. You can have a credit. You can have a credit. Yeah, we don't need to break the first subroutine. They have 22 credits. Like 23 credits is not a break point that changes any math whatsoever. A lot of times you'll be on autopilot, be like, oh, can you break all subroutines? Yeah, JNet says I can. We don't have to. 1, break. You do have to click on more things though. Sometimes that's worth a credit. I'm assuming this is a wall-to-wall. Maybe it's a regolith. Maybe it's a roughneck. Maybe it's just an agenda. I'm going to name every option so it can't be wrong. As of now, no game has finished with a dive. I guess not. Oh, it's a Managarm. Cool. Yeah, technically no, it hasn't. All right, so we're just going to hit all our money. We did spend some on that. But now we're going to be on 18 credits next turn. We should deep dive next turn though. Like nothing stops us. If they jam at the remote server, like they can have an agenda and then we can deep dive. The only agenda we have to worry about is technically above the law, trashing our telework, not a big deal, and an Azef making sure we don't have one card in hand. So also not a big deal. So ideally we should put this thing down so we can botulus quickly, but yeah, at this point, if they like ice server 2, jam in the remote, we just go for the deep dive. Why not Rizeki? We're out of MU. I wanted to put the Dza down, sir. To install on JNet, install the ice, then click and collect trash on ice. You trash first on JNet. It doesn't ever prompt you. So just destroy and then install. Why didn't they Managarm you? They could have. They'd have to pay 2. They probably should have, honestly. Yeah, you're right. I didn't realize that they didn't. Yeah, there you go. This is actually why we really would want the simul chip on the table, because we can react to this. We can like, because the program has been trashed this turn, we could simul chip immediately for the response. And they flipped. So we're just going to try and end the game anyways. They can score an agenda here. They have 2 cards in hand. I don't care. All right. Cleaver. Continue. Approach. Bagulter breaks for 2 in summation. With the bad publicity, it technically is credit positive. We also didn't pay a credit to run because they flipped, so they can't tell that we're going for the deep dive. It's a Palisade. We've seen that all day. Palisade's a really good target for Tau in this format. All right, 22 credits. What do they res? We have 19 with bad publicity. We just need to keep 2 for the deep dive. It's a Pharos. Oh, there it is. So this thing is quite annoying. It costs us what, 5? 6? 6? Oh, because it's 3 subroutines. Yeah, right. I thought I only had 2. So that's 4. That's fine. They paid 7 for that. Let us deep dive. I swear to God, if we lose before the deep dive. Archives. So we got, they did ice up archives again. With Tau, it's a bit of a liability. They can score out, and then we can put, like, this is, I don't think you res an ice wall against Tau, right? Because now we can, like, put the ice wall on the remote server or put the Pharos on archives. Like, you don't want to res ice you don't need against Tau. Especially when it's ice we break for 1 credit, right? Let alone free with bad pub. All right, they threw out the toll booth and they have an ice wall. So we're just going to deep dive C8, hoping for any agenda. And it's an Azef protocol and an Alice and to send a message and a hostile. Wow, half of those are agendas. We'll just take the bigger one. Hey, good game. Yeah, our good econ start. I didn't realize they're trying to punitive us. If you look at this number here, 129 credits, that's not accurate. That includes every bad publicity we've gained through every run. So we generated a fair few fewer credits than that, but like probably comparable to the corp. Yeah, we had a brilliant start. 3 diesel, 3 what's it called? 3 daily casts, and a Rizeki or 2. Couldn't ask for better, really. I would not have played around punitive, which is like a common thing in this. I've never played around punitive in startup, and I think it's a non 0% of the deaths we have. Hey, thanks for the game. Cool. Yeah, as a finisher, it's nice. It's really nice. C8 cards. Take 1 agenda. I was totally misunderstanding deep dive. I thought you had to run R&D again. Oh, no. You just run all 3 and then you play it as an event. And generally you don't have any clicks left, so you can only steal 1 card. Where's the deep dive here? But if you have 2 cards, if you have, an extra click, you can access 2 cards, which right now in startup, there's no way to do it if I'm not mistaken, besides Swift and playing a run event on the same turn. Owen Blech. Good game. Man, doesn't Ballista feel so bad in this format? It's just so rough when someone boomerangs us or botches this. I played Ballista once in Gateway. I'm like, I'm never touching this ice again. They were an Anarch. They didn't even have a killer. They're just like, botulus. Cool. Totally makes sense when you read the card. There's still a fair bit of text on there. It's small to put all the art on there. But yeah. Yeah, it replicates Andrew all the other cards that are in the game that are these like quest completed cards, which you have to run all 3 essentials successfully, and then you get some sick effect. Oh, I almost forgot. Startup. Yo, I don't know how many people watching right now are watching the VOD are not subscribed to the channel and going to the YouTube channel. I'm not asking this to fish for subscriptions, which I always am. We're always on almost on 5,000. But the biggest thing is I've now set it up that if you enter the channel and you're not logged in or subscribed, it auto plays you a video. And I hate it. I really hate it. I wish it didn't autoplay. I wish it was just there and you could choose to play it. So huge apologies if you have to watch that. But there's no way to make a video show up on the front page as your like landing video without autoplaying, which I hate. It's really obnoxious. I'm sorry about that. But there is no good way around it. I played Ballista in Standard, unfortunately. It was in Wayland FA deck that just wanted a Sentry ETR. Did you feel good about it? Because like there's an argument maybe in that, but even that seems rough. Because like you're ending the run, right? Maybe that's enough. Like maybe a 4-cost end the run Sentry is like fine. Like it's only 1 more than Guard. Andre performing a bad campaign. All right, it's Built to Last. I'm assuming it's Fast Advance. That's all we've played when we played Built to Last. Opening hand, we have an early Botulus. We have 2 creative commissions. Not the worst. Generally, they try and score out behind an early barrier or code gate. That's how it works. Botulus deals with that. Overclock doesn't really do anything. I'm gonna mulligan this. Our deck is so small. Yeah, this is a bit awkward. I never love opening with Anacom and a Sure Gamble unless we have a Dirty Laundry as well. Yeah, I think that's a mulligan. It's like not the worst. We have 2 breakers here, which is a bit awkward. We have the early Botulus. We're gonna hopefully like draw into a Dirty Laundry or something that we can get the Anacom, have value in the next turn. I wanted to score out the odds up to trash Botulus Ice, but you just had too much cash for me to try and make use of that ID remote tax. Oh yeah, that's true. You can repair your server. I'm super surprised, Elwin, that you didn't trash the Botulus Ice sooner because it's such a liability. We check these. It's an advanced ice, so we know it can't be a magnet, which is the only thing that hoses Botulus. So there's no ice in the format that has 2 subroutines that both end the run, right? Isn't Ballista the same cost as Rototurd but higher strength? Ballista is more expensive but higher strength. Rototurret is like weak to like Amakua, but that's not in the format. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. You could just play Rototurret. It's just cost influence. I'm checking this. Can you explain how Botulus affects Ballista? So Botulus, when you install it, it gets a virus counter on it, and you can use the virus counter to break 1 subroutine on a piece of ice that you're encountering. So the idea is that Botulus, generally when you install it, has 1 counter on it, and Ballista has 1 subroutine. So you're not having to find your killer. You don't have to pump strength. You don't have to do any of that. You just install the Botulus, and then every turn you can break the Ballista once for free. Right now, the Zaket has 2 subroutines, so it's a bit better into the Botulus because we can only break 1 subroutine. So we're going to break the end of the run, so they can get a credit place in advancement, but we're getting through. Roto is 0 strength, I'm pretty sure, Elwin. It's 4-0. It's a Malapur Data Vault. Okay, so this is a very fast deck. I want to trash this, generally. If they're doing this sort of fast play, like it means that they have like all the hostiles, they're going to be, they can't Audacity, so I don't know what they do in startup. I'm going to trash that though. We really need to find economy there. We didn't. That's a lot. That's probably a bit more than we wanted to pay on this turn. But if they're setting that up, they definitely have something in hand. Maybe we should ran HQ there for the hostile, which is going to get scored out right now. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we probably should ran HQ. Bad publicity is good for us though. Draw. I forgot we had that. Overclock's okay. We just need like anything. Yeah, that's credits. Here, this is quite ugly. I think we're going to throw out the tread lightly. We could overclock HQ, but that's credit negative. So we're just going to credit here. And I think we're going to have to end up throwing out a couple of these. We have to keep our break. We actually could throw out a breaker in theory. I'm not excited about it because then we need another program and then we simul-chip him back. Yeah, I think, Kevin, you're right. It's a very bad trash because we didn't have the economy to recover. If we had an economy like a creative commission in our hand, that's easy. I was hoping we'd draw into one, a creative or dirty laundry, but we didn't. So now we have to like heart of the cards it. And now we're throwing out an overclock with 2 SMCs in the deck. So even worse. I think actually the right thing there is to throw out the SMC. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's better. The overclock can still do stuff because we have, sorry, throw out the simul chip because we have self-modifying codes. The card's still really good though, because they're probably fast advancing. So we have clots. They have it set up for a trickle light here. Yeah, this could, they can rush us out here. I feel like that Malapert trash might be disasters. I would love some economy so that we could credit into that we can get both of these down, but we can't. Ugly, 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 ugly. Okay, we got something going here. So next turn we have those two. I'm gonna throw out the second simul chip. We have 3 simul chip in the deck. Obviously, it's quite good for Clot, let alone bringing self-modifying codes back. But like, we're pressuring the remote right now. Just getting a self-modifying code on the table would be the most important thing for us. Just because it threatens Clot, which means they have to jam in the remote server. And currently, the remote server is bad. So they're drawing right now, which is super surprising. Well, it's not surprising. This probably should be doing it. But 21 credits, I'm worried about Punitive. That's way more money than I'd expect a Fast Advance deck to have. So something's afoot. Let's go steal a 3-2 and die. Luckily, Anacom does protect us a fair bit from Punitive, as long as we have an event in hand. Neurospike, that tracks. That makes sense. Malapert, that makes a lot of sense. I do think that Anacom protects us from this, because they can score out a 5-3 and then do Neurospike. We survive those. So we're actually teched. Please stop drawing simul chips. Telework is good. We could just get that down now. If they fast advance out, send a message, or not send a message above the law, that's like real bad. Ugly. The only punishment they could do here is like if they really wanted to play a public trail just to trash a telework, I guess. But like, can they neurospike us through a Anacom? We have to be really unlucky. So I come back to the stream and see Andre enjoying some Shaper. Question for stat people. Knowing Andre's Shaper win rate, give the current state of the game. What are Andre's chances of winning? Pick one. We've been doing really good today. I'm a bit scared, but they seem to be like a Neurospike matchup, so we're tech to it. So I think we're doing okay. This is gonna be a snare, some nonsense. I'll run it. It could be a snare. If we lose our 2 breakers, we only have a single simul chip, so we're gonna be like botulist the gills. We'll just break it. There's no CVS, no way for them to purge virus counters of me, no Cyberdex Virus Suite mid-run. It's a reversed accounts. Wow, bad publicity. That's something's... Why are they trying to do that? There's no way to leverage a credit differential here besides Punitive, right? So they're definitely on Punitive and Neurospike, which makes sense if they're on 5-3s and then like 2 hostiles. Because they can run, technically they can run 6-5-3s, so maybe they're on 5-5-3s and then 3-3-1s. Yeah, it's Punitive Neurofork. Yeah, George, exactly. Luckily, we have no way to deal with, not luckily, but we have no way to deal with the actual Punitive besides getting a lot of money. So we're going to have to get a lot of money. There's no way around that. Actually, we could actually take the Punitive as long as we have an event in hand. Generally, 1 event, 5 cards means we're very unlikely, if not... Yeah, very unlikely. 2 events in hand, 5 cards in hand, we're very unlikely to die to a Punitive. So we could just like force them to blow their proverbial load and then survive. Yeah. Now, if they don't have seamless launch, like, are we worried about a never advanced card? Oh, that's good. That's what you need to do. Our economy's been way worse, Elwin, from last time. Okay, so if we need economy, this is how we get economy. This is a bit slow. If we draw 1, we throw this out for sure. Ugh. We just need to get our money up. It just got a Watchtower to fire? Hell yeah. What'd you get? I'm on Team Watchtower. Second ice. Okay, so it looks like it's a okay, now they're advancing out. So what are the 5-3s? It's either send a message or the drone deployment, which means we trash Rozeki. Got Trick Light. Nice. That's what you want. So they could neurospike us here if they do what? No, they can't. Well, they could. I don't think they could do a lethal one. They drawn so heavily. I'm worried about like running archives and stealing like 6 points and dying on the spot. We have to watch out that we don't steal 6 points. Oh boy. I'm going to try and divide these. So if they send a message, we don't lose 9 credits. We lose 6 at most. I think that's generally a smart thing to do. But they're going to be on game point really soon. So we just need to make our economy up. This is probably not worth it. Neuro times 2 clearly. They can't do it though, because they need more clicks than that. Oh, Azef. Oh, wow. Right. We lost a breaker. That's fine. I'll just do this. I don't know. Maybe they played around it. Oh, you're right. I totally forgot that Azev can neuro us. And this is where the Anacom saved us. I totally forgot that we can die to Azev neuro. But the Onacom saved us. I was only worrying about 5/3s. You're right. But if they score this, do 2 meat damage, and then do neuro, we would die. That's 6 damage. But yeah, the Onacom saved us there. So now they're frozen after their first neuro spike. Oh my. Okay, I forgot you could do that with Ozef. I haven't played that deck ever. All right, and now we're in the green. So now we have a huge turn where, like, as long as we keep our money up, we're okay because we can camp their mode. We did lose our Begalter. We lost 2 simul chips, so 3 simul chips. So we're not gonna have a killer anymore in this game. Obviously an issue, but we can get other economy down. So we can get this down, we can get this down, and we can hit that last click. I think we'd rather actually just telework. This gives us access to our breakers, let alone Clot, so they can't do anything tricksy. And they have to, like, I don't know how good this deck is at scoring out. I think it generally is going to have to. I wish we played a simul chip at some point, but it's generally going to have to actually try and kill us. Okay, the question is, can we get in here and also have enough money not to get punitive? I'd assume so. Cards in hand is an issue. So what do? We have to install the Unity and run. We have access to a Botulus, Paperclip from our SMC, and a Clot. If this is a 5/3, we're going to have a lot of money. We can take a bit more money, and we'd have to die to 2 punitives. So I think we install the Unity and run. I don't think they're going to have big ice. I'd be surprised if they do. If they have a Pharaohs, we can deal with it. If they have an Archer, we can't deal with it. If they have an Archer, it's a disaster. It's a huge disaster. I don't think we can worry about that. So we want to run, and last click will draw so we don't die to a single punitive. Oof. Okay, so we can deal with the end the run subroutine. This makes a lot of sense. We can deal with the end the run if we really need to, but then they can trash it. This is a startup, yeah, Kevin. Nice. Okay. So they could try and kill us again. So we have 1 click more. So if they score the Ozef, we die to neuro. You can manifest them being, actually we wouldn't die to neuro because we have 2 creative commissions. If we draw once, we can't die to Ozef neuro. So the question is, do we pull the self-modifying code to install this to deal with the border control? Sorry, to deal with the Archer. Wow. If we do, we can break the end the run subroutine. Then they could fire all. Then they have 11 credits, and they can definitely res and end the run. I don't think that matters. I think we have to win off centrals now. They can fire that so we can keep at least one of our programs. That's unfortunate. But now they're like, they can score out behind this Archer. We need a Botulus it. Yeah, I think our, like, trashing, man, trashing that has such a big impact. Not SMC? I don't think so. It's fine. Yeah, we lost our Begalter and 3 simul chips. If we ignore the Archer, it'll go away. I hope so. Eventually we'll poison it. SMC? Okay, so we kept the Rizeki. So we need to draw once, because if they score out an Ozef, and then they'd have to do Ozef into double Neurospike for us to die. So we're going to draw once so that they need double. Oh, skip on, we could Botulus it, but then we're going through and with no programs. And then this will end the run. Because there must be resing end the runs. As the drone deployment, okay, the Begalter's, that's gone too. Swap Tau Ice? I don't think so. We literally have only Botuli to win the game off of. Good thing is, we can face check just about anything, because everything just trashes programs. And we have a deep dive. So we need to be able to get through this somehow. I'm assuming it's going to end the run. It usually ends the run, unless they don't want to res an Archer here. Or it costs 11 credits. There's no ice that costs 11 credits. Yeah, that's a Horton. That makes sense. Okay, so we have to... This is hard. They have to, like... They're on game point here. And we can't stop fast advance. Spin Doctor. We can trash that. We can run back. We can run archives. There might actually be agendas in there. The question is whether we have enough credits. They can draw that. Whether we have enough credits to survive a punitive. I think we do. So we can run archives. We could steal 6 points and survive a punitive. The problem is that we can't steal an SDS drone deployment. Oh, there's no agendas in there. Kayambe. Wow. Yeah, I think we're going to get rushed out. Oof. 3 simul chip in the bin. Feels bad. Okay. Okay, that's quite bad. I think that's game. Paper win rate down to 67%. I think it would be 75%. I think we played 4 games. This is our 4th game. Which is still above average for us. Okay, so our draws, we have a 1 in 8 draw of drawing to Botulus. We have 3 in 8 if you can consider, sorry, 3 in 16 if you consider the self-modifying code as well. Ugh. We can't deep dive this turn. Did we credit for our last click last turn? That would be really bad. No, we ran archives. So this looks like it's it. 7 points off the top of our ND seems more likely to win than drawing. I think so. Well, if anything, we could draw into a dirty laundry, play a draw card as well. But we're assuming that they're on very few agendas, right? Like Haas, I don't know. The thing is, if we do get through this with the Botulus, we force them to res something that costs more than 4 credits, they might buy us a turn. But I think you're right. We have to run R&D. We might as well. We have to hit 4 times off without. If this is not an agenda, we lose. Hedge fund. Okay, draw. We just believed in ourselves. I guess we have to do it anyways. It's either we Botulus HQ, but that's not a winning play. So we Botulus the remote and hope this is like a pop-up window. It's the best we got. This is a Hail Mary. It's technically a play. So when it turns out to be a clearinghouse, we'd win. We'd survive. Okay, so we'll break the end of the run. But now, if this is like a 5-coster, we bought ourselves a turn, assuming this is a 5-3 agenda. And if it's not a 5-3 agenda, well, we lose. So please res something big, not an ice wall. A cat. Embarrassing. GG. They didn't even advance this. Oh, feels bad. All right, good game. I wonder actually if it was right to actually move the archer off the remote server. That might be right. Oh yeah, we can't even steal the SDS. You're right. They didn't have to res there. Good game. That was a wild one. I drew all the simul chips early. Didn't expect you need every single one. Totally did not respect Azef into Neuro. I saw the early Neuro. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't even have to res. We couldn't have stolen that, which is worth playing around. Like, we know they're on drone deployment. It's the Wayland 5-3 in the format. But it actually might have been right. It doesn't change that much, but if we swap those when they scored out the first time, given up on our deep dive, which would probably be too much. So we had a small chance of running this remote server. But by small chance, it means like we'd have to draw into our cleaver and our book into our into our watch list, because our cleaver is still in our deck, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so that probably wouldn't have happened. We were 1 draw from a diesel for getting our cleaver, but if we cleaver Botulus, we actually could have got in, but then we'd have to trash like the Botulus, and then we're kind of in a bad spot. Malapur was a bad trash. Yeah, Malapur put us down the hole. It really, really changed the whole game. I had the second for the kill, but I can't save you. Oh, for sure. I was leaning on that to survive the 5-3 Neuro. Good game. That was fun. Good, they got rid of the hats. Yeah, Wesley, they did a couple weeks ago. The chat log is really funny. The update log. That was a good game. All right, let's do one more. It's 11:30. Yeah, we can do one more. They're not that long. Man, yeah, when it rains, it pours. We drew too many simul chips on the early. I wonder if we should drop a 3rd simul chip for like something that's just a bit more tempo positive, or like some sort of economy card. Because I feel like it's one too many simul chips. Especially if you draw them, we don't want one in our opening hand, right? So maybe we'll drop one. They're obviously very useful once you spin up, and maybe I'm just not good enough at slowing down and just taking the tempo loss, but those are generally pretty fast matchups. I feel like the tread lightly is not worth it. Does anybody have like a smart idea of what to play for 1 influence? A diesel overclock? I'm just going to play a jailbreak, whatever. We get accesses and a card draw. I don't feel good about this tread lightly. Is there anything that would be a bit more reasonable? We never got to play it. For what it's worth, it didn't really matter. Because we're playing control, a lot of times they have a bit more money than this. Like, this would be a bit better in a criminal where you're pressuring their economy, but a lot of times we're just sitting back and then they have 16, so they can afford it. Paula Pickwin, unfortunately, is not in startup, so you have to basically do an Nisei card, right? Not an FFG card. Because this is a startup legal deck. We can just keep it. Buffer drive? Kevin, we haven't needed it today so far. We talked about how that's like the natural substitution. How about Demolisher? Sarkner, how's it going? Yo, we made Demolisher looking so good last week. The best it's ever looked. It's the best way to recover a card you lose. Yeah, but like in the same way, like Kevin, if I opened with like the same hand that had a simul chip, if it had a, a buffer drive, I wouldn't have installed a buffer drive, right? We should do runner money printing things. We have the Rizekis. We don't have pad tap, and we don't have the influence to play a companion. Oh, startup. Oop. But we're playing 3 Rezekis and 3 daily casts, so what can you do? All right, Mirror Morph is really fun. It can be a lot of things. I'm really worried that Mirror Morph, like, we're not playing like Defy or like Manhole Threading, so they could just build like a Managar Manoetic remote and be really rough for us. For the second ability, yeah, sure, but we have to install 3 credits, right? Like, I'm not paying 3 credits for that. We can't, like, the exact same hands where we didn't want to pay 1 credit for the simultip, we don't want to pay 3 credits for the buffer drive. I hear you though, for the recursion, but at that point, I like maybe, no, I don't think we play AR Lab, whatever, Harmony Lab. Thanks, you too. Opening hand, we have Daily Cast Onacom. We've Onacom into Dirty Laundry, which has been one of my favorite opens, into Daily Casts. And then we have a VRcation once we've emptied our hand on the following turn. So I like this, actually. Do you have enough expensive things for Career Fair? No, Shadow, unfortunately, we only have 3 Daily Casts and then 2 Teleworks. We're very resource light, let alone we only have 3 resources that cost more than 3. All right, Mirror Morph, they need to do 3 different things. Draw is a really nice start. Ooh, event, fantastic start, or operation more accurately. So gain 2. Man, Mirror Morph is so much fun. Non-agenda, so we know that's not an agenda. And now they can ice up R&D. Okay, they didn't take a credit. Okay, let's check HQ. We know that's not an agenda, so we can do this into this. A lot of times Mirror Morph can be punitive. We have to watch out. Most of the good one influence things in startup are Shaper. It's a magnet that deals with our botulists, so we have to watch out for that. We can just let this go. This is usually like a Maryland or I don't know what else, but we can play these 2, which is, you know, money. That's good. 3 credits a turn for the next couple turns. Spin Doctor. And they're off. Meme Morph. I like Mirror Morph. Mirror Morph is really fun. I think Subliminal coming back is like a big part of my enjoyment of Mirror Morph. But we're going to be trying to run, I hope, most turns, because you can't really give him a Subliminal. The way is like, how do people react with like Patrick? What's his name? Shit. The one that gives you 2 credits for a click. That card's really good, and people are super averse to trashing it. That's a magnet, so we can't like, well, it has a big chance of being a magnet, so we don't want to just like jam Botulus go. That'd be pretty rough. Maybe that's the magnet. Let's draw Dirty Laundry. Okay, DZ's okay. This draws 5, so I think we are going to take the credit loss of installing the DZ. We can just run HQ and then VRcation. They drew with the Spin Doctor and didn't discard. There's a chance there's something in HQ. I would say there's 20% chance there's an agenda in here. There you go. Good enough. Swap with Tau. Well, you did this for a reason, so let's undo it. And then VRcation, draw 5. Discard, Onacom, perfect efficiency. Oh yeah, Kevin, Wildcat. I actually like Wildcat a fair bit. Wildcat is card draw regardless with Onacom. I like it. I've enjoyed playing Mirror Morph quite a bit. It's fun. It's really good. I don't think it's the most competitive thing in startup, but like, oh my God, it's fun. And startup has the card pool to support it. Like if you had MCA Austerity and Standard a bit more, but what's the chance they put the magnet in R&D just to goof us here? 6 credits. This is where you actually would want the Tread Lightly if you could have it. 3 credits. We could do Telework, hit, Sure Gamble. Unfortunately, we're not pushing out breakers, so we could draw once. Oh no, that draws 2. So we could do Telework, hit Telework, Sure Gamble, maybe install a Simulchip or something. Ugly. Probably need a draw here. We need to find our breakers or SMCs. 2 Botulists. Probably have a lot of magnets now. I'm done watching the game against myself, learned a lot from it. About the 5-minute call, yes, there should be nothing after 9:34 in the East Coast, however, it's 11:34 a.m. in Kyoto. That does track. Hopefully it's okay. Mirror Morph is so very skill testing though. It's easy to goof how you want to do your clicks. Owen, I know. Like I'm playing it online where it babysits me and I still goof it. Where I'm like trying to like, why won't it let me do the thing? And luckily it keeps you on rails. Installing a non-agenda in server 2. So we're assuming a Managarm. On 5 credits, there's not that much they can res here. And I haven't tracked how many turns they've fired the Mirror Morph ability. It felt like they should have on turn 1. It just did not register if they did. We're going to be on 12 credits. We're getting to control and their money hasn't been good. So we want to check this. Okay. Mirror Morph for click and gain and click. That's the thing about Mirror Morph. It does it all at once. So it's easy to miss it because they do their action and before their action resolves, they pick their next action. It's a bit strange. It's not a weekly thing. It's a daily thing. Thursday special. Nobody uses those assets designed for Mirror Morph that are once per turn upgraded versions of standard abilities. And it makes it a little sad because they're fun. Gwen, every Mirror Morph I've built in startup has played at least the money one. Not so much Calvin, the card draw one, but the money one. Yeah, I like the money one a lot. What are the face checks? The bad face check here would be Hagen, which we lose our Rizeki, right? Let's find out if there's a Hagen. Planning your actions and tracking triggers was a big theme in Ashes. There's a lot of like surprisingly complex triggers. There is the magnet. So, okay, on the outside, that's fine. At least we got that res before we put down a Botulus. We forced him to spend some money. We haven't seen seamlesses or anything there. Rest of our turn, we can draw once. We probably want to run the Spin Doctor at some point. Let's see what we draw into. Okay, that does the drafters. Forgets that the install one exists. No, Gwen, I know the install one exists, but it's like 2 credits to res. It's not great. I don't know. It does help with Mirror Morph, but like I'd rather play like red level clearance, and I guess in standard you have like lateral growth as well, but like it's I think the least universal, where you often can install with Mirror Morph. I guess if you're playing the one that draws, then it gets better too because you're drawing more cards to install a turn. But that's the issue, is I don't. Let's play control. I'm not gonna run HQ. We think this one here is a magnet. So we can install the Begalter for 2 credits. That's probably fine. And we have 1 click left. So it's either we draw deeper into a deck or we just get one of these on the table. I'll get this on the table. I never do that soon enough. Doesn't have anything to get to. Leech is a 1 influence card that might help your breaker costs. Yeah, we thought about Leech. I think if we did Leech, we'd do a bit more admin as well. Oh, that needs to come down eventually. But yeah, Leech ain't bad. It's just we're not running Centrals a lot, right? Like we're meant to be a bit more of a control deck is what we've convinced ourselves. So, yeah. But Leech is obviously quite good. Vapor Frame. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. I do think it's the worst out of the 3. It's like just way more expensive for some reason. And it does have a condition on it too, I think. I don't think you can install anything. All right, we got 3 more credits. We want to run this remote before, again, this gets a bit too out of hand. We need to find our breakers. That does help us a fair bit. Unfortunately, that does eat the DZ trigger. But I think we can do it. We would really want an overclock here. Okay, well now we have too few clicks to do it. Unless we do Sure Gamble for card draw, install an SMC, they can score out. If it's a credit positive tempo agenda, that's an issue. But they're building their anoetic remote server nonsense. I feel like Daily Cast is the best. Actually, this will eat the trigger so that next turn we don't eat the trigger when we pop it. So this is like gaining a credit. I don't know. You mainly benefit from Vapor Frame if you are stacking ice, and Mirror Morph doesn't always have to do that. Don't think it's particularly worth it if you get the Mirror Morph trigger. Yeah, it's like build your own Jinja. Oh man, this stuff is like where you need to put Light the Fire in your deck. You put a Light the Fire in the deck, this collapses. And the question is whether enough people are playing Light the Fire that like this is still tenable, because we have to give up on this remote server. Interestingly enough, like we want to run the Spin Doctor before they fire the Anoetic, but like ugly. Before we start firing Anoetics, but like if we had a Managar Anoetic, I don't think we can afford it. So we have to win off Centrals now. So not great. So we're just gonna keep enough pressure up. Okay, our turn, we want to draw once for an event. Okay, we can install that. We want to probably run HQ here for single because they haven't scored an agenda yet. So there's either 1 on server 2 and or 1 in hand. Ravana, of course. So here it's either SMC or the cast. We'll take the casts. LTF as a 1 of is not that bad of an idea, right? Light the Fire as a 1 of it's not that bad. No, it's just 2 influence. So we'd have to build around it. Is this a gank deck? I don't think so. I think this is like the Mirror Morph, like remote servers. If anything, it might be like that Wayland advanceable asset. I would think that would be sooner than a gank deck because we haven't seen any drafters. We haven't seen any on cells. It could be. Now it's starting to look like it. I'll be honest. Yeah, maybe. I'll keep that in mind, Kevin. But like I've seen a lot of this where they make the Doom remote and then just once per turn advance the I never remember the name of that Wayland thing that does meat damage equal to advancements. But like that's such a not fun deck to play against. But Light the Fire just absolutely destroys it. It's frustrating. Clearinghouse, thank you. It really frustrates me when a whole strategy dies to 1 card and then it's like, why didn't you play that card? We'll draw for a Jailbreak. No. Do we Diesel? I think that's too many cards. Nah, okay, Magnet we know in there. This could be the Ravana. I think we just need to get it ready for the war. 20, okay. Score out. Go ahead, make my day. Because like in theory, advancing Clearinghouse works well with the Mirror Morph shtick. Like advance, install ice, credit. But it is painful. Just keep checking remotes. Wow, with this, you think? I don't think we can check this. I mean, Centrals, yeah. I'm on board. I'm suddenly on board. Do you think Light the Fire is broad enough that you could slot like one into most enter decks and get some decent use out of it, or is it still closer to Silver Bullet in the spectrum? I think Light the Fire is underrated with the amount of value it gives you, even if you don't need it as a Silver Bullet. The fact that you trade 1 credit, oh, this is cooler. The fact that you trade 1 credit pre-installed on a previous turn to trash anything for free, it is dependent on your meta, but like if you trade 1 credit and a brain damage to trash a Sand City Grid, a lot of times it's worth it. So I do think it's worth it. I do think you could also only run 2-1. You don't need to do anything. It's much better in startup with that border control. Yeah, there's way fewer ways to like make it whiff. Like it's just basically Nisei Mark II, if I'm not mistaken. New upgrade. Yeah, this one's good with it works with Mirror Morph. They didn't install another card in this remote server, so I don't know what's up. Let's draw for multi-access. I mean, yeah, that's good. I think we have to hit R&D. We have to lock the top of R&D. So much better in startup. It's not good enough in standard. Yeah, I think that's correct. Especially because this sort of setup is very common. There's so many decks in startup that just went off of the back of upgrades. I wish we had an overclock here. We have 1 and 8 on the draw, but we'll just run here. We have 26 credits. No further action. This is the magnet, right? Oh no, this one's a magnet. No further action. Konjin. Yeah, maybe it is a gank deck, honestly. It does look like a gank deck. Konjin is what? How much influence? Ah, it's gone. Unfortunately here, we can't really install something. Like we could pop the SMC preemptively just to pull out a card. Feels bad. 3 influence. Thank you, Shadow. That's a lot of influence. Ganked is, I think, 2. We've seen 1 spin. We haven't seen any ice that seems like they're really like making sacrifices. Like a lot of the HB mid-range ice is good. We saw Ravana though. We saw Hakarl. Hakarl's weird. Hakarl is weird. Wait, oh, Hakarl, what does Hakarl even say? Oh, sideways. When you res this during a run, the runner cannot de-res another card. Yeah, not a problem. If you do, the runner cannot use paid ability windows on Bayreuth Ice. Oh, that's not that bad. They just scored a Vitruvius as a 3-2. Okay. Bizzle, I just got home and my system update came from Nisei in my mailbox. Metro Walker is live. Is this a sign? It's totally a sign. Yo, enjoy your cards. That's super cool. Did you get like older stuff, or did you get the Midnight Sun booster pack? I do think that this is a Maganet. Do I have to choose 2 ice? I guess. Konjin's fun in game net because side game triggered your ID. Yeah. No, Upa Yoga game net was a thing. All right, they just scored that out. With seamless launch, so they have a extra click for install now, so they could hit the cold site server. But like the issue is like we don't have a lot of pressure, that it is hard for us to win off central servers, right? Like this is where you want to conduit. You want to, this is the weakness of the archetype, right? If we can't deal with this, which again, game net could, or not game net, Light the Fire could, is like, it's hard for us to win off centrals. We have to get lucky. I do think we will overclock R&D. They just jammed an agenda, I'm assuming. The chance of them having another agenda in hand is pretty low. I thought system updated the deck builder pack earlier. I bought this later for Kitchen Table Netrunner. Not super into the comp scene, but excited to have this as a game option. Yo, Bizzle, for what it's worth, like startup as like a competitive format, I would call it more like organized play format, but Kitchen Table Netrunner is something else, that's for sure. But I wouldn't shy away from it. Just hit the remote and see what happens. I'm not gonna die to that. I think we will eventually. They're just not resing anything. I'm going to go ahead and use these credits. Install Unity, because we know we need it at least. Seamless. Oh, that's so frustrating. We're just trying to win. We're just trying to get lucky here. I think we could... No, the Anoetic is just too big of a deal. Like, they have Anoetic Mana Garm, so I think we just money up and then, like, eventually we do it. What's the best we could do for our credits? It's probably creative last click, because I don't think we're creative first click next turn. You know, it would be great if we had Pinhole Threading. Pinhole Threading wouldn't be enough because it's only a single card. So we would have to like get lucky and snipe the Anoetic. So it's probably not going to happen. Why are we holding back on the deep dive? Because we can't spend our whole turn to get 2 points. Oh, they over advanced it. Does that get him anything? Seamless, I guess. I'm gonna take the ice off the remote server because if it's a ganked server and we take something scary off of it, I just don't remember which ice we knew or like knew and which ice we didn't know. This is where we will run the remote server. They didn't advance this. Anoetic Managarm we can afford with 34 credits. We have access to all our breakers. Yeah, there you go. This makes a lot of sense. So now they spent all their credits. Okay. What does this cost to break? 7 credits. Fantastic. So they're going to gank us into this. This is the issue. But now we can flesh out the remote server. So now we just have to move the tier around and make it really obnoxious. So how many times? This would be 9 credits to hit again? Fine. We can afford to do that a couple times. I've been playing in Architects. That being said, I did flatline someone with it. All right. There's that. Okay, cool. We'll spend 2 clicks. I think. Actually, our clicks might be more impactful than that. So we'll hit the ganked. Yeah, that's fine. Hit the tier. Okay. Another ganked. Okay. Oh, wait. Oddball, wait a second. Oddball emailed me this deck list like a couple weeks ago. Oh, no way. Sorry, I haven't answered yet. I should have put this together sooner. My apologies. They emailed me the deck list because I asked for some deck lists and they sent me this and I looked at it. I'm like, I can't believe ganked is in this format. I totally always forget that ganked is did I not pay 9? No, I haven't. I always forget it's in the format. Okay. We have to trash that. I don't think we're gonna trash this. A click and a credit, so it's fine. Okay, we're playing control. Okay. Now the remote server is a bit worse. We could consider botulisting this. 2 brain damage doesn't matter. It's a nano etching, that's fine. If they're doing this, they're not scoring an agenda. So we know when they trash this, they score an agenda. So now we can actually move their stuff around. With 4 credits, they can res a Ravana. That's actually probably what was on R&D is a bunch of Ravanas. So that's a bit annoying. But we can deal with it. Let's draw for a run event or for an event. That's fine. That works. So now we want to just play the control game because we can afford to run this a bit. I think Tranquility would be a good trash here. I didn't even consider it. I didn't even access it. But yeah, I think you're right. We probably should have kept them down. I didn't even click on it. I technically have to access all the cards. What do we know in HQ? We know there's a Konjin, which might be here. I think that's it. So what's our turn? I think we install the Rizeki. No, I think we install the Botchus on here. And then the issue is like as soon as we run here and they res their magnet, like it gets really unfortunate. So we install the what's it called? The Botchus here. We're really worrying on it. But we can also throw out a Botchus and then only install here at the beginning of turn and then break 2 of the subroutines. I think that's fair too. So we could draw once. No, this will draw anyway. So we draw, install this, run HQ. Install this, run HQ, and then creative, yeah. And then we can discard Botulus. There's a Ravana, okay. Yeah, it's probably Konjin for the side game. Konjin isn't a subroutine, right? It's an on-encounter. Okay, so probably ganked, maybe another Managarm, both very likely. But again, as soon as the Nano Etching leaves, that's when we know we have to start doing something. Our bottom 9 cards of the deck, we have 1 Sure Gamble, 1 Dirty Laundry, 1 Jailbreak, I think. All right, let's draw our whole deck. All right, we can Jailbreak HQ. Doesn't seem amazing. Tread Lightly R&D, not the worst. Konjin has no subs. Always feels good when someone boomerangs. Yeah, right? I've had very little experience with Konjin. We can trash this now. We could also use it to install the Botchulus though, which actually probably is the right use for it. We threw out our last D's at MZ. This will draw us a card, C2 from HQ. I think if they had an agenda, they probably would have jammed it, so I don't love it. So I think we're just gonna get money here and install the Simulchip. So we can discard some cards. Overclock's quite good for the remote. We'll discard one of these so we have access to it. And I think the Tread Lightly is like only good for 1 run on R&D. Feels really good on that run though. We could also in theory throw out the cleaver to be able to pop it with simulchip. Whatever. Tread lightly, unfortunately. If you have no cards in your deck, can your opponent choose to draw 4 cards on the what's it called? Wildcat Strike? I think they can, right? It's not their fault you can't do it. But yeah, this only costs us 7, so we need like 7 plus 9 if we want to worry about a ganked. But hey, 2 ganks are in here. Bring ganked back, fantastic. This is where I wish we had a conduit or Stargate. Like this is the sort of matchup where you let them grind you through this. But again, 1 Light the Fire will deal with this. So they have Vitruvius to bring a ganked back. Tranquility triggers 2. We just have to win off centrals. I think Wildcat has to say if able for it not to be an option. Yeah, it's an option. It definitely is an option. I don't think you're allowed. Maybe you're allowed to pick it. So we know this can't be an agenda, but they still cold sighted, which is an advancement. No, it's a power counter. All right, well, we could run R&D, I guess. We want to jailbreak R&D to lock the top of the deck. Let's go for it. 20 credits. We're going to spend a lot. There's a chance like we hit a 3-pointer here if they're on Ikwaz. I guess then we can't deep dive. But here we're going to see a Konjin, yeah. All right. So if we win the side game, we save 7 credits. Oh, we don't install our... Fuck, we didn't install our cleaver. Hold on. Oh, this is such a misplay. We have to now commit to the botch list. That is disgusting. Oh, that's so silly. We should install the cleaver first. Not only does it save us money with the Unity because we're going to hit a Ravana or something. I'll pay 1, whatever. They paid 2. Fine. Probably should just pay 0. It saves us more. So we're hitting tier. Okay, we'll break for 7. There goes all our money. Cool. Funny enough is like, oh, this is really bad. I'm just going to click through this. Luckily they have, well, they still have some money. I don't know if they can res here. Oh, it's drafter, fine. So that's actually 4 real credits. So we can't steal Ikwaz, which is a nightmare. Because we did click through all this. We actually, in theory, could have let one of the subroutines fire. So if we hit an Ikwaz, I feel really bad. It's a Manic Arm. I think they already hit. No, they don't have one in the remote server. No, you can't have that. Sandbox. Okay. Tao's ability. That's not in the format? What is an electric? Sorry, I don't know what I said. Shit. So like ideally we bring the tier off the ganked, right? Like, so I think we just do this. And then the server becomes so much worse. Ikawa? Oh, Ikawa's not in the format. I see what you mean. Yeah, totally. Excuse me. It's Vacheron that's the 5-3. Thank you. Yeah, totally. They're on 0 credits. Now they do have a money ability here. But now like the double ganked server seems a bit worse. Konjin to remote? I don't want to do that. Because the Konjin still costs money. Like I think we're giving up on R&D. Now we're just camping the remote server, which maybe that's a joke. Like maybe that's a mistake. Hey, 1 second. Excuse me. I thought Maddie hurt herself, but she's just annoyed at something. This looks like a spin doctor, right? The run saver 3. I thought she dropped something and hurt herself because something there was like a loud sound and she was like upset about it, and I thought she dropped a plate and like cut herself, but no, just the dish rack was annoying. I guess they can let us trash this. I think they'd want to use it, and now we slam HQ, which is sick because they just drew a lot. Hakarl, surprising include, I think. We don't have any MU free. It's probably we hit the telework or we run HQ for another. I think there's a big chance there's an agenda in here. We need to find the 5-3s before they do. Are there actually 5-3s you can play on cell? Disgusting. Oh, this is such a grind. Like I just want 1 light the fire and you don't have to deal with any of this. Nano etching. They're on 6 credits. Then they'll put down cell here eventually. But we just, it's an issue with our deck. We just can't generate enough value. I do think we should be actually oh, could be an agenda. I think we should be preemptively simul-chipping something, but I think this is a magnet, so I'm not excited to do it. All right, so it looks like an agenda. If they gank this into the drafter, it's 4 credits a pop. It's pretty annoying. I'm pretty sure this is a magnet, right? Yo, how sure are we this is a magnet? I'm pretty sure this is a magnet. Legwork is a good card. Maybe need to find room for it. Yeah, no, totally. I think I'd rather play Docklands Pass than Legwork. Even with the Onicum, I think. Red level clearance, 2 credits. Oh, they use Cold Sight, and they use Cold Sight again. So it costs us 3 credits and 3 clicks to run this remote server. I still think we can afford it, right? So it's additional cost to run the server. The runner has to spend 2 extra clicks and 2 extra credits, okay? So that means we can telework contract, overclock. I'm pretty sure this is a magnet. If it's not, and we need a killer, that's fine. There's 2 seamless in the bin, so they're not scoring out of 5-3 here. Let's go. It's a drafter. 2 credits. Cleaver isn't needed here. Yeah, if this is a gatekeeper, it's not needed. But we could always like panic if it's a barrier, like if it's a, I don't know. The issues of this is like a Brawn, but if it's a Brawn, oh, it's an on sell. That makes the gank make way more sense. Ugly, really, really ugly. Really quite ugly. So that was the only magnet. Ah, shit. I would love to have a gun here. The Revolver Deers was on sale for 2 credits. It's so good. I wonder with 3 simul-chip whether gun is better than Bagalter. It probably is. Like the sentries are really good. Okay, so we're encountering this. We can't click through it. So if we want to break it, it's 6 credits. Like that's a lot. And then this is 2, which will leave us on 6, 7, 8. So we'd be on 8 credits. We have 1 here. So we can still steal an agenda likely. It's just we have to get ganked into this twice. And if we can't break it, we get infinite looped. So I think we can spend 6 here. We can spend 6 another time. If we get, instead of getting infinite looped, like we can always, you may install 1 card from HQ Archives as an annoying thing for us to let fire, because they can always install like a 4-2 agenda or a 3-2 agenda and score it out with a seamless if they have it. So we're going to have to break all of it. So I think we can do it. The thing is though, we definitely want to access the agenda before we access the ganked, because if we re-access the on-sell, we don't have to break all the subroutines. This is 2 credits. How many ganks in a remote? 2. Actually, we're short on credits. We are short on credits. We're going to have to give them an agenda for this. Yeah, we access this first. And then if it's not an agenda, we get gank looped. So we're going to get to maybe game point. Unless this is a 5. Oh, it's a spin doctor. Oh, that's so bad. So bad. All right. So now we have to access everything. So we access a ganked. So they can throw us back into the on-sell. Okay, so this says you may trash an installed runner card. That's a problem. You may install 1 card from HQ Archives. That's a problem. Because if they do the... Oh, no. Wait, did we just get looped? I think we have to botchless the on-sell, but I think we have to botchless the you may install a card. Because that's the one that matters. So we're going to get a card trashed. Wait, does simul-chipping Bagalter accomplish anything? It does. It lets us break 1 subroutine, so we don't get looped. This is way too much money. Yeah, you play Light the Fire, y'all. Just play Light the Fire. You don't have to deal with this. So we have to access this one. So now we have to fire this. We have to trash an installed card, not a problem. Wait, what? Did I misclick? Oh, it's another cold site server. Oh, whoa. I thought that was 2 ganked. I'm alive-ish. Huge roller coaster of emotion. Okay. So apparently that's another cold site server, which we're not trashing. There's no real reason for them to res it. All right. Fantastic. So now we're going to have to simul-chip this on sell. We're going to have to remember on their turn to self-modifying codes. They have a bunch of cards in hand. They definitely have an agenda. They might have another agenda. Is that the last spin doctor? Oh, there's a nano etching. That makes sense. You're meant to let some of the subs trash install card fire so you can afford to stop the gank loop. Yeah, no, if we had to hit it and there was a second gank, we would break the you may install a card, but let the trash fire just so they can't gank loop us for sure. Because that's the one that gank loops, the second one. Because then they reinstall the gank, you have to access the gank, then it keeps trashing your board state. So that's the one you have to fire. We would get one of our cards trashed, which doesn't matter with 2 simul chips that much. We'd been okay. Okay, so on their turn, we're gonna crack this to trash this to install this on that, and it'll have 2 counters. I thought there were 2 ganks in archives. There's 1. I should pay attention to that sort of thing. All right, cards that can go into a remote. 1 mana Garm. I don't think they're on Anoetic. I could open up my email. You made 10 credits on this Tranquility since you first accessed it. Kevin, I don't think we could afford to trash it, but I think the first time we probably should have. They definitely have another Tranquility though. That's the issue. Like we've seen none in here. So trashing it, they'll just replace it. But I hear you. I do think there's agendas in HQ. I do think we need a run server too. This costs 2 credits that we have up front. This is 2 credits. This is a click. If that's a gank, it's really bad. If that's a gank, it's again really quite bad. We could actually creative commission for first click to gain 4 credits and 4 credits and a card draw for 2 clicks, which basically the Onicom card draw offsets the creative commission. If we were really clever, we could figure out what the card on our heap is. It is the last card in our deck is not a Dirty Laundry. It's not a Sure Gamble. It is not a Diesel. Last card in our deck is not an Overclock. Uh-oh. How long can we go on for? 2 Anacoms, 3 simul chips accounted for. No, I think it's a simul chip, right? It's the most painful trash. Yeah, 4 is too high. That's a really good card. No, that's 3. I think the last card in our deck is a simul chip. Okay, unless we know we cut a simul chip, right? I wish there was a button for this. What is the last card in my deck? No, it's a simul chip. Daily Cast Unity. I don't know what it is. Do you mind if I check? Do you mind if I peek at my last card? It's faster than doing the math. Yeah, if you want card in your stack, you should be able to look at it, right? Go for it. Thank you. All right, it's a cast. Sick. Thank you. Okay, so not something we really actively need to draw, but it's 5 more credits our deck has access to. So again, 4 credits. It could be a ganked. I think they shuffled some stuff back in with the Spin Doctor. I did not pay attention. Yeah, Spin Doctor and a ganked. So it could be a ganked. They didn't hit up the Cold Side Saver. It's a ganked. We hit the on sell again. So we can always run here, pay for, like we could create a, oh man, I don't want to get ganked again. I think we just have to hit centrals. I think we just run HQ. If we get an agenda here, like we have access to deep dive, Crisium Grid, surprising. We can always run this and trash this, but it gives them money. Please stop showing us that card. Giving up the remote server. I think it's a spin. You think it's a last spin? It could be. The way that they've been playing spin kind of looks like that. So it draws into your creative, where I'm going to be on 11 credits next turn. We've seen 2 seamless out, and that's the thing that's like keeping me most happy. Uh-oh, no. No! Oh, no! But they had a last seamless too. Shit. It's a Vitruvius with a counter. I don't want to play ganked again. Every MMO player it all over. So they have 4 credits. The question is, how can we like create, like this is the best remote server we could possibly ask for. They still have to score 1 more agenda. I don't think we change R&D. I think this is the remote server that we try and win off of. Because at this point, they really have an issue. Make R&D, there's no way to make R&D cheap. Konjin is like a 50-50. Brawn we have to take off of it. Like the issue is like either Brawn or Tier, there's no way to make that cheap. So I don't think we swap. I think we run archives, we run HQ 2 times. I don't even know if we install the daily casts because I think they can jam next turn. I'm going to run archives first in case they threw something out and then they can pull it back with Vitruvius. But like, I don't think we have much here. If anything, we also pre-install a Botulus. I'm just worried they have another magnet and like, they're just going to put a magnet here and everything's going to go to shit. There's no Cyberdex Fire Suite, so this can be a cheeky res. They could always pull a card back with a Vitruvius. Oh, Carl. Oh, they threw in a magnet. Wow. We know there's a Crisium in HQ. We can't trash it to improve the value of our runs. There's a Tranquility. So there's 2 grids in there. 7 grids in there. Shit. If we install this, it's technically credit negative by 2 credits because we only gain 2 next turn, paying 3 and a click for this. So we might just be better off clicking for credit. I'm assuming they're just gonna hit the nano etching, maybe put in a card in the remote server. The issue is like, well, not the issue, because we've seen 3 grids, I think probably in hand. So the chance of them like jamming something in the remote server, it has to be a non-grid card. Ravana, okay. So we know Acrisium, we know Tranquility, we know Ravana. Ravana is pretty annoying. We do actually at some point have to get the cleaver down. But now they can like, now all 3 seamlesses are out. That's kind of neat because they've scored all their 3-2s. Well, actually, no, they have access to seamless of Vitruvius, never mind. So much for being a quick game. I know. No, this is 12-13. Like the lights are going to go off. They're going to shut the power down. This is not what I want. This is a grinder. These are the sort of matchups where like, man, casual Netrunner to me gets a bit painful where it's like, oh man, there's so many turns where it's just like, please win, as opposed to like doing an exciting play. But I guess we're running into gank. That's kind of exciting. Again, if this is the sort of deck where if we have like Conduit or Stargate, we can kind of change the game. But that being said, like, I don't think we can afford to run R&D. If we can only run once. Bring the gank back. The cool play here is bring the gank back and install an agenda. If they do that, they're heroes, but it has to be if it's a 3-2, it's a luminal. So like, whatever. So if this is an agenda, it's like such a big brain play. Like Vitruvius token, it's hard to do this in person, but I guess you shuffle your hand, right? Cold side server, right? So that could be a gank, that could be an agenda. I guess we'll never know. I can't make that call. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like there's still half the agendas in the deck. Assuming that's an agenda, let's hope it's not. Like 12 cards in R&D, 2 in HQ. Like, oh my God, what do we do? For what it's worth, it's not expensive for us to check this, right? Right, like this, we can click through 2 of them. Well, 1 of them, because we're going to spend 2 clicks. At this point, we should have played the daily cast on every turn that we're convincing ourselves. You see the lights did turn off. Every turn we're convincing ourselves we don't need to. What do we do without Rezeki? A 3rd Rezeki would have been something. We could run this, get through all of it, and then pay if we need to. Yeah, I guess we will run it. It's a click and a credit. But if that's a gank, like, oh my God. It either, like, if this is not a gank, this has to be the luminal. If it's the luminal, they win. If it's any other agenda, I don't think they can win. So I'm just going to ignore it. These are bad accesses, though. I think we should just be clicking for credits. Man, yeah, that could be it. If we saw the ganked in HQ, then we would have to run their mode. So maybe that's a reason to run HQ there. Okay, so what is the ganked looks like? Man, just one light the fire. None of this is an issue anymore. We also still know that we don't need the cleaver, which is kind of nice. Okay, that is a problem. If that's a magnet, we're in a bad spot. If that's a barrier, we're in a bad spot. Again, at this point, it has to be the luminal or they can't do anything, right? Because 3 seamlesses are out. I keep clicking on their stuff, right? So it's either, is it the luminal, which is a 1 in 15 or whatever? Or are they just putting it there to get ready? Because next turn, they're going to like triple cold side server. I don't know. I don't think we can afford to find out. If this is the, what's it called? The magnet, though, we lose. Or like we have to pivot. I've done no math, but I feel like this could be correct. Show me the magnet. Oh. Oh, that's not good. Do you think it's the luminal? Huh. I feel like every access we got on HQ, we should have just clicked for credit. That feels rough. Okay. We'll probably want to break that. So this is 4, this is 2, this is free. 4, 5, 6. So it's on 6. This is 6 to break. So we could actually get through everything. We could do everything. This is, yeah. Yeah. We'll be bankrupt, but we can get through everything, I'm pretty sure. Hold on. So 4. Okay, this is 5, 6. They'll leave us with 6. And I'm pretty sure this is 6, right? Like 3 for strength, 3 for subroutines. Yeah, okay. So we'll be destitute. Keep in mind you don't have the click left if you're running it down cell ganked. No, but we have 6 credits left, which is all we need. As soon as they like have a mana garm, that's a fine. That's like a problem. But as soon as they have a mana garm, right? Like we can't. It's not that they can score out. Sending the Glacier to Shadow Realm? We're not. We're struggling. We need to get like a lucky HQ draw. Like I don't. This is the last run we can afford on the remote. Maybe with the botch list it's a bit different, but I think they should purge every couple turns. I'm surprised they didn't. You did not break the last sub. Did I not? Oh, I didn't. You're right. Wait, I didn't mean to click through that. Wait. I didn't mean to click that. I meant to, yeah, botch list that. That's the issue. I thought it was going to botch list it. That's why it stopped giving us the menu. No. We definitely botch list this. So, counter virus. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no. We don't click through that. We didn't break this either, did we? Yeah, no, I didn't mean to click on it. I just missed because these are close together and I wasn't paying attention. So we'll access the card first. It's a Cyberdeck sandbox, so I don't think they could have scored that out. Do we use Tao's ability? Do we use Tao's ability? If we put the Konjin on them, we put them on a 1 in 3. And if we put Konjin on this, it actually gets annoying with ganked. No. That being said, we could try and make R&D a bit nicer for us. Whew, this is huge. Do we put Tao to make R&D nicer and try and win off of R&D? You think yes. So what's the nicest thing we could put on R&D? We can click through tier. Tier doesn't matter. Move on sell. But the way we replace it with Brawn? Yeah, we definitely want to put a Brawn. Yeah, I think we put a Brawn there. You're going to get ganked into whatever you move now? Oh, that's a good point. And we don't care if we get ganked into Brawn. Yeah. On sell out. Yeah. Huge. Tao. Superhero. Yeah, now gank me. Gank me all you want. Haha. Draft on RD does nothing if you run it last. Yeah, I think it's more important to get the on sell off of this. Because they fire the drafter here now. That saves us some credits. We don't want to let that fire. We do have clicks, but yeah, we don't want to let that fire. Because then they infinite ganked us. Cold sight. I'm not going to, technically you have to access all of them. I'm not, because I'm not going to trash them. But you touch all of them just to see what they feel like. And we are on game point. We either click for credits or run HQ here. Click for credits. Draft R&D technically matters too, Rakatha, because if we run through it, they can just put a ganked on R&D and then they can draw their whole archives. It's weird. Like you just can't let that. Okay, install advance. Cold sight. That's not NG open. I need to open up my email. Oddball posted this on JNet. Lol. So here it costs us 2 clicks and 2 credits to run it, and otherwise they win the game. Okay. Last turn. Let's figure this out. So assuming this is a 4-2 agenda, this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So there's still 8 points and 10 cards, including archives and HQ not including. So I don't think we run the remote server because I think pretty mathematically we can tell. So I think if anything, we simul-chip on their turn and we simul-chip onto the on-sell or to the tier. I think we do the tier. I think I need to do something on your turn. So I think we trash this on-sell. Sorry, this trash this botch list so that we can botch list the on-sell. Then we'll have 2 virus counters on it. Then we can run here. Or no, we probably do it on the tier. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. Whatever one we do, they make us hit this one. This one's cheaper. So we'll put it on the tier. Then we can run here. They conj us into something. We have 6 credits, so we can always pay for the on-sell. Oh shit, but Konjin can hit us into the brand. What the hell do you do with Konjin? They can't pay 2. No, they could pay 2. What's the winning play here? Do we install botches from hand as well? No. Because what is this? Ah! Konjin, you secret spend. If you runner spend a different number of credits, you may force the runner to encounter another res piece of ice. Yeah, I think it's you win the side game. I think you're right, Rakatha. Thinking. Man, I've played against Konjin so few times. So I think we win the side game. Click through the ETR and brand. Yeah, if we click through that though, then we click through the 2 ETRs. You're right. Install a piece ice of inwards doesn't matter. So we run. We click through this if they make us hit it. If they make us hit something else, it's fine. And then we just let, yeah, some of these fire. Okay, so on their turn, we're going to, what does brand cost? 6. So we have to ask if you're able to pay 2 or even 1 when playing the side game. Yeah, I know. It's going to be a bit awkward. No matter what, though, we do this for this. Choose a target for simulchip botulus, and I think we botulus the unsell. No. Counter virus 2. Okay, this is on their turn. Because I did that on your turn. I still have a floating DZ discount. Okay. Makes sense. So for running here, this is going to be so bad. So we install this for 5. So if we run here, this is 6 credits, but we do get a refund. So if we run through the Konjin, they can spend any amount of money because if they spend 2, that's enough. So if they Konjin us into the unsell, trash install, that's a problem. You may install card from HQ archives. That is a problem because of Managarm. But they can't really afford to res the Managarm and score out. Still, it's going to be bad for us. The runner cannot steal trash. We have to break through that. So if we run now, if they throw us into this, we can click through it. Then the second time we hit it, we can pay 6, and then we can go through this. Oh, we can't let the trash one installed runner card fire. So, oh, this is really awkward. I think we might have unselled the wrong one, but what if they use the Konjin to hit us into the tier? Brain damage, we can't let that fire twice because we don't have enough cards. Trash one installed runner card, gain 3, doesn't matter if we hit this last. Oh, I don't think we can do it. I think we're just slightly short. Is there any chance the solution here is economy? Is there any chance the solution is botulus? Botulus for 1 credit breaks 1 subroutine. So if we run this, the 1 subroutine that we really care about is the runner cannot steal our trash. But as soon as they Konjin us into a Brawn, we're fucked. This is hard. What do you do? This is going to take me like 10 minutes to actually parse out. And at this point, it's way too late in the evening to do this. I think we have to win the side game. I think, yeah, win the side game seems to be the math. But still, if you win the side game, what do we do? First click, will run, win the side game? You have to care about trash or runner card because you lose the botchless on tier. For sure. And we have to care about all of these, actually. Stop complaining, be a side god. We have to care about all these. Cut down the money advantage of the runner long term. Light the fire says hi. I think I need exclamation mark. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm never leaving home without a light the fire in my deck. Forget it. Let alone pinhole is going to change that. I don't think that's better. I don't think it's better than Managarm. The Cold Sight's not better than Managarm. It's a bit better. It's easier to play in Mirror Morph, but it's not better than Managarm. Okay. Shit. We still have this issue. If we run now and win the side game, this is 6 credits. And then we can click through this. So I think we have to click for 2 credits. So we're on 8 credits. We run. We have 1 click left. Then we're on 8 credits. Then we win the side game. Then we pay 6 for this. We have to win the side game. Oh, we're so done. And then still an agenda. We have to win the side game. Have 6 credits. Break this for 6 credits. Take 2 subroutines off of this. And then click through a subroutine if we really need to. We don't need to. Yeah, the 2 tower subroutine is good. They're very smart to not res HQ archives to ice up HQ and archives. They're very, very smart. That's why E-Shutdown's also kind of nice. E-Shutdown's, I think, the card I like playing in Tau because it gives them a reason to worry about icing HQ. Believe in the heart of the side game. Top deck your card and win. I think we have to. I think we do credit run. Let's do this. Let's dance. Now as a streamer, you wait to make sure there is no Sniperino. I have no read. I do not know. They can spend any amount of money on this. If we fail it, it's quite bad. Fuck. Kevin had it. Shit. Well, we had a good run. Now maybe they'll make us interact with the wrong ice. Please pick Magnet. Braun. Okay. We have exactly one too few for Braun. It's the only option for them? Yeah, I know. Yeah. If we paid 6, I need to ask if the top card is that. You gotta let me know if top card is an agenda. Brand is definitely the wrong guy, so you just ignore it and run again, and now they cannot pay anything. Roketa! Wait, hold on. Whoa, I gotta click. Hold the phone. No! I was gonna run back. They robbed us of an ending. No, it's all good. It's all good. Oh, you just ask your opponent to tell you what the top card of the deck is, and that can save you a lot of credits, let me tell you. All right, well, now they know they don't have to play the side game, so I'm just going to run. It's HQ Archives. I'm running HQ. Whatever. Lol. Yeah, okay. GG. Imagine flashing for Find the Truth. Yeah, right? GG. Could we run this remote server last click? Nah, Brandon's too big of an issue. Good game. I don't think we played that perfectly. Like, if we figured out what this deck was, we wanted to play the third Rizeki, we could have clicked for credits against for jamming singles, especially when they had their remote server. So we definitely misplayed it a wee bit. But yeah, this is the sort of thing that you tech in for sure. I think you can do it. Imagine splashing when you can just ask nicely. Game. That's a grinder. Yeah, I'll play like the fire any day. Oh man, that's good. But again, this sort of like thing where people clown card the upgrades on their modes, you just have to play it a bit like leaner, where you don't do super ganked. Still hitting a gank off the top of R&D can be like disastrous. Thanks for, hey, cheers, you too. Good grief, look at the final numbers. I don't think it was that wild. Hey, oh, that's fair kind. Next game. A car with cold side D-res too? I don't think that's really good. It's not that often you want to click through things, especially like, well, actually it's a bit better with ganked. I just think Kakaro like is like this, like it's the worst ice. Admittedly, the Tau makes it a bit more awkward. That being said, 4 strength is still kind of good against Cleaver. I don't know. Clown car remote? Oh yeah, that's a common term for this sort of thing where it's like there's 6 things in it. Hey, cheers. Okay. It's 12:30. We went a bit long. Apologies for that. One thing I did say at the beginning of the stream, and I'll say it again because it's really important. There's not going to be a stream next week, and there's not going to be a stream the week after. So we're going to have to walk away from the channel for a wee bit. Our Shaper win rate tonight was 67%. I think we came out there in the wash. Oh, there you go. So we won't be around. If I'm lucky, if I'm able, I will try and pre-record some games, and we'll put them up as videos on the channel to like have them scheduled for the Thursday and the next Thursday, but there will be no stream until July. So if I don't see you till then, hopefully you're back in July, just like we are. Happy Canada Day, happy 4th of July, happy whatever holiday it is. Missing the next month for stuff. Almost 69%. Yeah, if you're there on Saturday, I'll see you at the Silver Goblin, but I think that's largely it. I don't think there's much more news. We're gonna hit spoiler season, I think, relatively soon. I imagine you'll hear people talking about cards, and EC will be talking a bit more come July, so that's gonna be just about the time we're getting back. Community game night next for 2 Thursday. Oh, super cool. July's Borealis season. Yeah, exactly. We're coming in hot, which is good. But yeah, we'll be around in July. So we're on holiday for 2 weeks, but we'll be back in a bit. A huge shout out to everyone we played games with today, everyone hanging out in chat, everyone enjoying the VOD. We're just about short of 5,000 subs. If things go the same way they do, we'll likely have 5,000 subs when we come back in July. When we hit 5,000 subscribers, I will do a long stream on a weekend, and we'll do like QA, we'll do deck lists that people send in, we'll do anything. QA doesn't always have to be Netrunner related, like we can do whatever we want. On that note, hopefully we'll hit 5,000 subscribers, but if you want to prepare for it and like send questions to QA questions or deck lists, Oddball did send a deck list a couple weeks ago. I forgot to respond to it. Excuse me. Hit me up at metropolgrid@gmail.com, and we can use that as fodder. We can give some stuff to talk about. That's all. Take care, y'all. We'll see you in July.